Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Master of Punk's Tamer Sages, the king of the ring himself. But your boy Thicky Smalls, Gerard Michaels, in the house. Well done. Handled well.
That was beautiful.
Oh, welcome back, Gas Digital. It's another Saturday. That means it's slick and thick here. It's your boy, Gerard Michaels, and it's another glorious day. It's a good day to have a great day here in this great country. Coming to us from the studio, we got our producer, Natalie. How we doing, Nat? Good.
What's up, guys?
Way to hop in. We got Christian, we got Ben, and we've got, at 6'3", 200 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, and every single one of those pounds is a problem. The master of punks,
Sex
the tamer
appeal
of
can be a
sages,
problem at times too. It's a gift and a curse.
the king of the ring, the CEO of the RNC, Slick Mick the ruler, Mickey Gall.
What's up, Big G?
I'm doing good, man. I'm
What
doing
up,
good. I'm
dog?
doing good. I'm doing great because we have a great guest today. One of my favorite people on earth.
One of
I
your
don't know.
favorite people.
I don't know if you know him.
You don't know how I feel about this person? This person, I'm going to say a very big compliment to this person. This is the person who's the most like me in the world. We literally have the same DNA. None other than my sister, Jamie Gall, in the
Jamie Gall,
motherfucking
friend of the
house.
program,
Let's go.
Jamie Gall.
Hello.
Jamie, first podcast ever.
Ever. A true honor.
Look how cute you are. Look how cute you are.
Jamie G.
I see them
Jamie.
nucks. You got some nucks on right there?
I do.
Nuck,
Just
if
in
you
case
buck
Gerard
wild,
doesn't
nuck,
let me
if you
speak.
buck wild. That's,
Just,
No, that never happens. That would
listened.
never happen on this
I've
podcast.
listened
bro.
to the podcast, so I just thought I'd come prepared.
In
ready
case
to
Gerard
rock.
starts to filibuster, you're just going to hit him with a little
Yeah.
right cross.
You know,
Just a little something.
people think I like to talk a lot. What they don't know is that Mickey takes 3 Ps per episode, and I have to fill the airways.
It's a little bit of hyperbole.
A little bit.
It's a little bit. It's like about 1/3 that much.
Mickey
It's-
drinks a lot of water. It's been
seven-
on my
Super
life.
hydrated.
70% hyperbole. You know, your brother has been bullying me lately.
Has he?
He's been bullying me lately. He's been putting my my deepest, darkest things on the internet for people to see. I had an emergency parking situation, and he covered it like a citizen journalist. And
Yeah.
then I was
Nah, man, I can't have you disrespecting my gym, dog.
I was.
Well, Gerard, I get these phone calls as well.
Do you?
And then I just put Mickey on the case.
Is
People
that right?
from the gym are calling
Yeah, I get calls from the gym.
all the time
Who's
about
this
like,
guy?
who's this guy? What is he? Who does he
Yeah.
think he is?
Get out of here.
What's this guy doing in our lounge?
Yeah,
We're trying to
snoring.
practice. We hear people snoring. Why is
They
our...
thought it was people, but it was just one Gerard.
Yeah.
They thought like there was 9 men snoring. It was just
Certainly.
one Gerard sawing 9 logs all on his own.
You have to out alpha the alphas. You know, you got to let them know. You got
You're
to.
like, I'm so comfortable around you guys. I ain't worried about
I'm
nothing.
not worried
That's
about
what they
nothing.
say about
Everybody else is
wolves.
afraid of these pit bulls, not me.
Should we play the clip?
What do they say about wolves?
Wolves,
Play the clip, play the clip.
loudest one is the one that's is the most fearful one, but the one that's sleeping, that's how you know that that's alpha.
All right, I got a clip
Yeah,
here first.
it's the quiet dog that bites. Look at this. Look at this. All right.
We get some sound?
So this is the first problem.
Now this is nonsensical.
You
Okay.
got no sound though. You got to go back.
Hold on.
This is nonsensical because I was
First
parked.
he falls asleep in the lounge. Then he's parking right in front of the building.
Can I make
What do you
this
think
a
all
whole
these
lot worse?
white lines are for? Buddy.
I mean,
I told you guys yesterday I can't take this freaking guy anywhere. Look at this.
this is outrageous. That door was locked.
Come on, man. Don't be taking dumps in my gym, bro. Don't be taking dumps in my gym. Brother, why are you taking dumps in my gym?
That door was locked.
I'm not gonna post it. I lied. I'm sorry. I lied. I couldn't help it. Bro, you come on, man. This is my gym. You gotta have a little respect. Don't be taking. It was disrespectful. Why is the door locked? Everybody would agree.
I don't like getting bullied by a man 100 pounds lighter than me.
Can we talk about
Not
that
100 pounds
parking?
lighter than you anymore, dog.
You've been on
I'm
the,
only about 80 pounds less
you've
than
been on
you.
you've been on them first 4 meat sticks, son.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that parking for a second?
Yes,
though?
please.
Please.
Have you ever been on the Mike Barwis side of that?
No.
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 Well,
What does that mean?
they do a lot of work.
Shout out Mike Barwis, one of our great guests.
Great
and
guys.
is going to be returning soon.
Love Mike Barwis,
by,
one of our best
popular
episodes.
demand.
Well, they do a lot of work with people that can't walk.
I know.
And you're taking up that front
We're gonna do that.
right
You
in front.
Oh, we're gonna do that.
You
All right.
fucker.
For people, okay. Give me a second
They're
to
in there
explain
doing
myself.
God's work, helping handy-capable people, and you're just parking your fucking fat-ass Jeep right in front because you got to take a shit? Unacceptable.
I mean, guys,
Unacceptable.
it is a Jeep.
It is a Jeep. I'm on.
What is it, like it's a fucking McLaren?
What am I supposed to park with, you peasants? You Ford and Chevy driving peasants? I mean, guys, come on. Did you see the murdered out rims there?
Yeah, bro, that is pretty hard. Oh, Suge White honky Kong over here.
So I made the decision after kickboxing that I had to go to the gas station anyway. I'm going to poop in the gas station. And I felt the bubble guts as I was walking out the front door, and I'm like, should I turn back now? Nah, I'm all right. And then I get to the car, and I sit down in the car, and I pull out, and I go, nope, Parker, and I got to go run inside, man.
hilarious.
And that's where I left it. That's where I left it. And here he is. Friends like these, Jamie, friends like these, who needs enemies?
Who needs enemies,
Who needs
baby?
enemies? And you grew up with this.
I sure did.
Yeah.
What was it like
I
being bullied
made her
24/7?
into such a cool person. She's
I
basically
do.
my little brother. I mean, actually, you go ahead and talk.
Well, no, I do. I think I actually said it earlier that any girl that has older brothers, they're a whole lot cooler for the most part.
Oh, for sure.
Like they,
My,
but Mickey,
my younger sisters can attest.
Mickey raised me well. I wouldn't have wanted to not have an older brother like him.
So
yeah.
9
Wouldn't
years
be who I
sober.
am.
Yes,
mean,
I did drive her to drugs.
I did. I needed.
So let's
She needed
pivot.
an escape.
So let's pivot towards the.
Life was rough.
Let's pivot towards the self-medicating and from the trauma, no doubt.
Well, no, but it molded me into who I am today. But it was not without struggle.
Oh, hey, Natalie,
what's up?
our producer, member of the LGBTQXYZW.
Can I call it the Roy G. Biv community?
Welcome.
Is that?
This is my my lesbian sister.
Yeah.
Nice, hell yeah.
Wait,
Thank
you're
you.
not.
It's
My
a,
lesbian sister.
You're
on
not a
the
lesbian.
it's an honor to be a part of the club. If anyone asks, I am.
Oh. All right. Cool. Nice.
Yeah, a lot of
I-
people just think she is because she's like such a cool dude.
I've had
Really?
like
Yeah.
people I've known for a long time have been like, "Oh, I got a friend to hook you up with. Her name's," and I'm like, "Oh, all right, thank you." Okay.
What? That's crazy.
I
Did
mean,
they
I
just
would-
come up and say that?
No, yeah, like
no,
they're like,
Billy D. He was on the podcast.
Get
OG
out
Billy
of
D.
here.
He's known me for a long time,
Oh,
and
I love Billy D, but honestly, that doesn't surprise me.
he thought I was. He was like, "I've never really seen you date anyone, or you didn't bring boys around."
Well, you know why?
was like, "All right."
Because you're not flirting with him, so you must be gay.
Well, that's what I think a decent amount of people have been like.
For sure.
Like even in the gym and stuff. Because I'm
100%.
not dating anybody. I don't like. You're not gonna hear stories
Raised
about
her
me.
well.
So that's. But seriously, having Mickey it put me. I wouldn't want to be the girl getting passed around the gym that everybody like knows about and one boyfriend to the next or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that
You're
I
not
had
a
Mickey's
hooah.
influence.
Yeah.
sorry, Christian, you were out anyway. Once I told her you were a vegan. So
Ah, fuck.
yeah, right.
Yeah. So wait.
So
So
now she knows.
That's what I figured.
I mean,
let's go back to
he's,
this.
Christian's cute, isn't he?
Is this
Yeah.
a thing? Is this a
What
thing?
do you
you-
think?
I don't like the
Hands are bad.
hesitation.
I
She goes,
wasn't
"Yeah," and
sure.
looks red
I
at
wasn't
Mick.
sure if you were calling him gay, saying he was a vegan. He said
Oh
I
no, I'm
outed
just saying.
you.
I'm just saying you.
No, I'm gay.
That's like when you said I outed you as soon as I said you were a vegan. I thought you were saying that all vegans were gay.
Oh no, that you'd out.
Oh yeah.
You'd be out. You're on that
I like
carnivore
meat.
diet.
Yeah, I like a good steak, some heart.
She said she likes meat.
Hey, you know,
She's not a lesbian, I guess.
so
It
this
does
is
come
what's
full
hard.
circle.
This is what's difficult. It's like that's clearly something I need to make fun of you for, but it's like you're Mickey's
yeah,
sister.
I made fun of
Hey,
it.
come on.
Exactly.
I like meat.
That's why
You're
I
like,
followed
I'm
it up. I
trying
followed
really
it up.
hard to be respectful.
I followed it up with a good
She was
steak.
like, yeah, she's like a steak, a
some
steak,
heart.
a steak.
Yeah.
Steak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I notice it as I say it, and I try to correct myself.
Is that right? Nice. Nice.
Sick.
Just throws it out there. Hey, I like a good piece of meat. I mean, steak. Meat.
Man, I'm still sweating from practice, and maybe it's the hot coffee, so I'm fogging up my glasses.
Really?
It's a real. It's hard being cool. You know what I mean?
You
It's not easy.
now, for people that don't know, you do a lot of Mickey's management. You handle a lot of Mickey's
I do.
brand. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I have you to thank for this sunglass sponsorship that
Yeah.
turned him into an absolute fucking monster.
You know,
Mickey
no one
fucking
pulls
gold,
them off.
baby.
I love it. I love it. They look good. You can't put anything on Mickey and he's not gonna look good.
Know what I'm saying?
So anytime,
Thank
you know,
you.
Mickey was number one.
This is how
Thank
often
you.
were you hit as a kid until you said things like that out loud?
I just make her. I never hit her.
He
I would make
never
her
hit me.
flinch though.
I would flinch. I would fall on my back. I put my legs up and I just start kicking them as fast as I could.
Like a
She
turtle?
pulled guard.
Yeah,
She
just
pulled guard.
Yeah, pull guard.
No,
up
like
kick.
G on
straight
the
up.
toilet.
unknowingly.
Hey, knock it off. Hey, Can a man have not a respite, not a moment of peace
Oh,
in
yeah.
this
If you
chaotic
guys-
world?
Actually, let's pull that video back up real quick.
We
Watch
will
G.
need to
Look at
see
G
the video again.
kick his little tootsies when he's on the toilet. He kicks his little tootsies. It's so adorable.
The worst part is I had to throw the whole fucking phone out.
The whole phone, bro.
Has
You
to
dropped
go.
the phone on the
For
floor
sure.
of a public bathroom.
Grotesque.
Ugh. Yuck.
It's unbelievable.
No, Mickey.
Unbelievable.
Mickey never had to do anything. He could look at me and I would know. Oh, here we go.
Guys, yesterday I can't take this freaking guy anywhere.
Look at this.
Can we pause it on the feet kick?
Look at if he kick.
doing it?
You gotta get that door fixed.
Look at this in my gym, bro. Don't be taking dumps in my gym.
That reminds me of like
Why-
Family Guy.
Yeah, right.
Like Peter Griffin. How he would certainly
That's really
react.
insulting to Gerard.
Sorry.
Really insulting.
I honestly, I'm just embracing my destiny as Peter Griffin. It's fine.
You know, you're getting
Lois.
into kickboxing. What do you mean?
What do you mean?
You don't have to be Peter Griffin.
What are you talking about? I actually like
You
it.
would like to be?
Yeah, it's one of the like Ben. One of our great engineers, Ben, sees my pickleball video the other day. He goes, "Wow, you can actually move pretty good." I'm like, I was a professional fucking athlete, dickhead. Like I literally got paid to do sports.
But
Wow, wow, you good.
athletic
Wow,
fat
you-
men
you- I
surprise
heard that
people.
too.
Yeah, I was like, what? They really do.
Athletic fat men surprise people.
They really do. They really do. You know, but I mean, I'm not the first athlete to get fat. All right, I would love to have seen like I was telling him, I would love to see like Tony Gwynn on the golf course just lacing 350-yard drives, and somebody being like, "Wow, you can really swing for a big guy." It's Tony fucking Gwynn.
Yeah.
Jesus, this whole society is so judgmental and fatphobic. It's ridiculous, Jamie.
So
if you only knew.
Last week we celebrated a big date.
Yep.
9 years sober for Jamie.
Yes.
Well, this is coming out on, so it'd be 2 weeks ago in the mind's eye for the viewer.
Right.
but Yeah.
July 19th.
July
my favorite
19th.
day.
July 9th. So that's your rebirth.
My rebirth, yeah.
Nice. Rebirth day.
Birthday
Yeah.
you
Happy
earned.
birthday to you.
It's a little verbose.
Is it? Is it
little
not good?
Happy
I
birthday.
got a lot of
Feliz
birthday wishes on it.
cumpleaños.
Because
Yeah.
Mickey posted, people thought it was my birthday. They were like,
People
"Ah."
don't read.
No.
They don't read.
I just
Some of the
said
guys
thank
on our
you.
team can't, so yeah, it's all right.
Average IQ of Mickey's fan base, go. Double digits?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I think they're wonderful. If they like Mickey, they're smart people.
You know what my
Fucking
favorite
A.
You know what my favorite thing to do to Mickey is?
What?
Critique his sparring.
It's sparring.
He hates it so he hates it so much.
That stuff gets me mad. Like
Oh.
people's watching
love
fights
it.
in a bar.
I
Like,
love
to
it.
Like
listen to people.
civilians?
No,
Oh,
nothing's
see,
worse than
civilians.
Civilians?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, should have thrown
But
the
that's
uppercut.
that's
your,
like
your left is getting low.
Even-
He's been sparring for 70 straight minutes. Your
Yeah.
hands are getting low, bud.
that's
Hands are
what
getting
people
low.
like to do on the couch.
Dude, if
Oh,
I
why
was
didn't
in
they
there,
just
I'd
do
fucking
this?
I'd be tight with my shit. You
Hey.
know what I'm saying?
I mean, Gerard, you took a kickboxing class, or you like participated. How'd that go? How'd you feel?
The kid can throw hands, Jamie.
But even
Tuco
just,
was ready to get the fucking the defibrillator out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will die, but I'll die throwing hands. Yeah, it's a cardio sport. If it was 30-second rounds, that'd be great.
It's the cardio that knocks you out of there.
Yeah, I don't really lose to the opponent. I lose to the cholesterol.
I'm
You
gonna
know?
have to watch you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta come check
Because
it out.
everybody has an opinion, but they just don't know what they can't actually. Oh, why didn't you just throw an elbow there?
Yeah.
Like, because
Oh.
you're across the.
I do want to know.
Can't.
I do want to know about this
you
though,
know.
because you guys are both jujitsu guys. You see this whole new thing where it's like jujitsu's not real, just stand up.
Yeah,
That's like
been
going
on.
all over the
It's been
internet?
going on.
What
Yeah.
are your thoughts on that? Like, what is it?
Oh,
Derek Lewis is the
come-
guy that really started
Try
it.
that. Try that. Try that with someone who has good jujitsu.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But your
I
thoughts?
welcome
You
you.
have said this. You have said this. You don't think there's a lot of good jujitsu out there, though.
No, there's like most people stink at jujitsu.
Really?
100%.
So, like, do you think the MMA community, like the jujitsu, by and large, is just like?
There's a couple like really good guys. Like you look at guys like Charles Oliveira.
Pull
Gilbert
that up,
Burns.
Christian. What was it? Derek
there's a
Lewis,
there's a
just
lot of
stand
great-
up. Jiu-jitsu's not real, just stand up.
And Derek explodes to get out of that position. Jack's taking
I think he's the guy that started this.
I think he's
'cause-
fighting Jack May here. Jack May is not a jiu-jitsu guy.
Oh, look at this. He's giving up
I think that's
position.
Jack the Outlaw May. I don't know.
Sloppy. Very sloppy.
You know what the thing is too? Probably Derek Lewis probably trains jiu-jitsu all the time, right? Like he's probably a great grappler, even though he's known as striker with the heavy right hand.
And maybe look, there's a good underhook he just used on Roy Nelson. Roy Nelson's a good jiu-jitsu
Oh,
guy.
country, big country.
Yeah, that's G's hero right there.
Love big country.
Oh,
Oh.
look at that. He got that good shit. He got that good shield there, though.
I'm telling you. You
Put the
know,
belly
back
on your
in the
face.
day, that's what gladiators look like, right?
I don't think they look.
No,
I don't think they
absolutely.
had that many calories.
No,
back then.
They would like feed them porridge and shit like that because they thought
Porridge.
it made them. I swear to God, look it up. Like they were portly. They were portly gentlemen.
Yeah.
Heavyweight fights are exciting. You're
Yeah.
just waiting for a knockout.
It's a
Heavyweight's
car
always fun.
crash.
Yeah.
It's a car crash. I mean, it's
Yeah, just pow, pow, pow.
But tell me heavyweight fights wouldn't be more exciting if the rounds were 2 minutes.
I don't know.
Do 6 2-minute rounds. See how exciting
Yeah, just
heavyweight
like
fights
rock
get.
out.
Yeah.
I think that could be fun.
No fat guy treaty.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what do you think, Christian? You think jiu-jitsu's real, or can you just stand up?
No, it's fake.
Jiu-jitsu's
Yeah,
fake.
for sure.
That motherfucker is not real.
Christian had 2 amateur MMA fights too.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So he's not just a total puby haired dork, you know.
Good to know. I was thinking that over here.
It's so funny. Like you could be a rocket scientist, like a literal PhD that can send things into outer space, and Mick will be like, "Got any amateur fights?" Nerd.
Yeah, that's so true.
Get a load of the civilian.
How
over
much, Mick?
Yeah.
Mick, how much does having a couple amateur fights make you respect a person more than a regular civilian? Do you consider me a civilian?
No. You should be. If you've gone through the training and the preparation and the mental, all that stuff to go and walk into a ring in a room full of people and try and kill or die. You know what I mean? Like that guy's gonna try and kill you. You gotta try and kill him. You've been through something. You've had to grow and do something as like a man. I just think someone who does jiu-jitsu just a hobbyist, if they've done it for like 2 years, they're gonna be more. They're gonna have an advantage over 99% of the possibility. They're gonna be forced to confront reality. They're gonna get choked and have to tap out and realize, okay, that person could have killed me right there.
If they suck.
If they, you know what I mean? That person could have killed me if we weren't playing with this tapping rule set. So it makes you, it's like, it
Humility.
checks your ego. Yeah, it keeps you humble.
Well, that was a pretty
so
wild
G
thing.
is a
That
civilian.
hey, you got 2 gold medals in the Pan Ams there, but
Yeah, no,
did I ever
G's
tell you,
G's
did I
more of
ever
a
tell you about the
civilian.
time that I won the Pan Ams?
I did not.
Oh man, it was a hazy August day.
Should I get the nuts ready?
Yeah, it's about time. It's about time to get this nuts ready. Yeah.
Well, I've done diamond gloves too. I get no respect around here. All right, this is nonsense. It's fucking
Well,
unbelievable.
you're gonna have one of the most highest anticipated amateur fights when you fucking step in there, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you gonna do that?
G's gonna do one,
For
I
sure.
would love if you did that.
For sure.
right?
Well, you're a lesbian, so what do I care?
True.
Yeah, lesbo.
Shut up, lesbian. Yeah, maybe like meat, and then I'll be like, yeah, I'll fight for you, babe. Jesus Christ.
She likes meat. Christian doesn't like meat.
Ah,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Got
I
it.
just
Got
was
it.
gonna
Got it.
stay
Sammy's
quiet
on that
on
carnivore
though.
diet. Yeah,
She's on that. She's on that
Let that one
carnivore.
go.
She's on that carnivore diet.
Do you
just
actually do the
eating.
carnivore diet?
Not fully. I do for like when I'm just eating by myself. I do, but I don't. I get extreme in everything I do. So if I let myself go
You've
to
heard
those,
that before, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us Galls, man.
I try not to let myself go to that extreme. So if I'm with somebody else, if I'm with people, I'll eat normal what everyone else is doing. But when I'm by myself, it's easier. And it like you just got to cook a steak up. You just
Yeah,
fry some
totally.
like ground beef. It's just easy. But if I'm with people, I'll be
Sometimes I
normal.
don't
Yeah, if you think she
know
takes things to the
why I go
extremes,
to
shut the-
extremes.
Kind of. I don't think your song was better than my joke. So I'm a
Well,
little pissed.
I was Billy Joel, and I didn't know you were doing a joke. Let's take it back to
Do you
one.
want me
That's
to-
'cause I was trying to-
I always take things to the extreme.
If you think that's extreme, you should see her with crack.
Hey!
True.
You should have seen her in her crack days.
9 years ago.
So what were your?
Yeah, we want to talk. I definitely want to talk a little bit about your.
Well, I want to
your
get into the good stuff.
sobriety.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your sobriety. I want to talk a lot of your story. I think it's important. I know in just the little time when we've posted stuff on Instagram about it, the outpouring of people we've had that we've been able to, reached back out to and been able to help, and they hit us up yearly saying, I'm on 2 years now, I'm on 3 years now.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's probably one of the coolest things at this point. Like even when Mickey first posted, there would be comments that would be like, how could you put that out there? How could you talk about that? Like, you're using your sister, blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously Mickey
they'd say that to him.
Yeah. Or like try to come to my like protection. But obviously, first
yeah, like
of all,
it's not your business. You're right. I didn't even think about that because that was so long ago. But yeah, some people are like, that's not your business to say. But it's like, I know her. I talked to her already.
Sure.
And honestly, that made me feel great because I don't see it with any shame. A lot of people do look at it that it either is or should be a shameful thing, or they have their own shame. That's part of the problem. Yeah, that's one of the biggest parts. So when Mickey posts about it or talking about it, I think is like the most powerful thing you could do, and it's been incredible. Like people, like Mickey said, yearly I get a message. Like I had somebody like a month ago say they got 5 years, and they're like, seeing Mickey post about this changed my life.
Yeah.
There's nothing cool like. Yeah, having a platform, even what you guys do, you grow a following, it's great, whatever. But okay, what are you doing with it? If you're able to help people with it, that's the most amazing thing you could do. But laughter.
While I love that you're giving us credit for your sobriety, you actually did a lot of the work. I mean, don't get me wrong, we did a lot of the work.
And truly, it's something.
You did so much.
Don't get me wrong, we really carried the lion's share of the load here in your sobriety.
But it's also it's something I'm genuinely very proud of, and I think anybody who like. If they have an issue, like if they go in and overcome something like that, you win a battle with your own self, your own demons, your own mind.
Sure.
That's harder than any opponent you have to face. You do, like that's why I would say Jamie's like the real fighter in the family. She has to fight a battle every fucking day. You know, so it is something like that I'm sincerely like the most proud of.
Yeah, I think, and so many people are affected by it as well.
Every family has people who are struggle with addiction.
Well, I think going back to what you said before, the shame aspect, I would imagine, is one of the biggest hurdles in recovery, right? Because as you sober up, then kind of the realization of everything hits you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, man.
Well, even just getting to a point to get sober, it's not always, you can't really, I couldn't do it on my own. I needed support. I needed people around to help me and get me to that place. I wasn't somebody that could just be like, my life's not doing well, or like these different consequences have pushed me, now I'm going to get sober. I needed people to push me to do that. So if nobody knew, I couldn't get that help.
So we've started at the end here, but for our audience, let's go through your story a little bit from the beginning.
That's why you're the professional here, G.
You know, no,
we're
but
doing
it's
a Quentin Tarantino movie over
here.
It's
all out of order.
But
it's she survives and she's the best person ever at the end. So it's like you get to see.
She was a cracker for a little bit.
Yeah. But that's very important to know. It's very important to know that whatever we're about to talk about next, however vulnerable you get, however dark the times were, the important message that comes out of this is that you are a highly successful business person, right? You're not Mickey Gall's sister. You have blazed a trail in a very male-dominated industry. You're crushing it in many ways, right? And you know, it's one thing to overcome what you've overcome, and it's another thing to still thrive professionally and personally after that, which you have. So this story, for anyone listening, however hard it is to listen to, it has a happy ending. And this is a very, very powerful story for anybody that may be struggling or knows somebody struggling, to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. No matter how dark it looks, no matter how far away the light is, there is one.
Yeah, and that's the point of it. You don't get sober and make changes in your life to be miserable. You do it so that you have a life, and that's the hardest part, is thinking like, how could I? Even for me, I didn't have goals. I thought I was gonna die a drug addict for sure. I think my family thought the same. Like, Mickey, I know you had get random phone calls would stress you out and scare you because you never knew what was on the other line, and it was, it was just really unpredictable. So even thinking that you can have a life is incredible.
Well, now that I know that that's one of his triggers, I cannot wait to put his personal information on Grindr. Says you want to keep taking photos of me in the bathroom, buddy? Wait till.
That was something I was like kind of reminded of on her sober date. Was thinking 9 years before, I was pretty sure the next time I held her hand, it was going to be cold. Like, I didn't think I was going to see her alive again, you know?
That's actually what got me sober, because you said that to me right before I went back to Florida. And we'll start at the beginning in a minute. But
Why don't you go ahead?
Well, I don't want to forget to say that, though, because that really is why I got sober. My family had just found out that I had relapsed again, and they found needles and stuff like that. And everyone was freaking out, and I was just like, I gotta leave. I just need to get out of here as soon as I can. I have to get back to Florida. And in my head, part of me was like, I'll get sober, but like first I gotta get really high. I gotta get high. I gotta do it my way.
One last hurrah.
Yeah, I can't be trapped here now. Like I'll figure out a way and I'll be okay. But
It's really killing my buzz.
Yeah.
The next morning you're hungover. It's like, well, I can't go to rehab hungover.
I was laying in bed and I was like, I'd run out. I was detoxing and everyone knew that I was getting high, so I was like being watched. And Mickey was holding my hand and he was like, I don't want the next time I hold your hand for it to be cold. And I was like, nah, don't worry about it. I'll be fine. I'm gonna get this taken care of. Like I tried to brush it off, but those words never left me. And that was at the end. Like I had overdosed a couple times. I overdosed, and we could get to this, but that just kept playing in my head over and over again. And eventually was why I got sober, because I was like, I can't imagine my life without Mickey. Like he was the complete reason why I did. And I'm gonna try not to cry because we're on podcast. So I'm getting a little shaky over here. But
if you want to cry, you can cry. It's okay.
But no, that was the
I'm not gonna cry, Roy.
That's why, like, everything I did, even getting into the profession I'm in now, was because I do, and I still do. I feel like I owe my life to Mickey, because I wouldn't be here without him. 100% would not be.
So 9 years sober.
I agree.
Sunglasses made him a menace, an absolute
But
menace.
he's just so handsome. It's
Oh
just
God,
so
here
hard.
we go. Oh.
Like, why is Mickey the way he is? I just compliment him. all the time.
Yeah, right.
Christian, this is like my life, bro. Like, it's
Handsome,
like, oh
strong,
my God
athletic,
almighty.
kind.
Keep going.
It's just the best.
Is this
And I'm the
Stockholm
most
syndrome?
humble.
Is it Stockholm syndrome, Natalie? Can you look up what it's like when people fall in love with their tormentor? What's the?
That's called Stockholm
It
syndrome.
is Stockholm
Yeah.
syndrome. Okay, so we'll get to the Stockholm syndrome after the addiction. So you're 9 years sober and you're not very old, so you must have got after this at a young age.
Well, I started the first time I drank, I was 11 years old.
11 years old.
11 years old. And it was just like I had a shot. I had a shot of Malibu. And even still, like, I didn't get wasted on it or anything. I'm sure I did in the future. But the smell of Malibu, like, gives me the chills. Like, if something tastes similar to that, it grosses me out.
Wow.
So, like, coconut.
How did you
things.
come across the shot of Malibu?
I was babysitting, and I made, like, a joke to somebody. I was like, like, been a rough day. Like, I could really use a shot. And they were like, oh, do you want a shot?
Were
And I was like,
your
I do.
parents drinking a lot? Where did you get that imagery at 11?
I mean, my parents, neither of my parents are alcoholics or anything, but I was like people at
They threw
parties,
down.
they could drink.
Yeah,
They would
yeah.
drink.
Adults threw down.
Sure,
But
sure.
It was not,
we had fun, but it was never like, it wasn't like I had a drunk
It wasn't
for
like
a
they drink
parent or,
every night or anything.
Yeah.
On the weekends they'd have some drinks.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
So I took a shot and I was like, ooh, that was fun. I want to try some more. So then any chance I got, I mean, I was 11, so I didn't get a ton of chances. But if there was alcohol, I'd sip it.
Really?
I wanted to drink something, and then.
And you were keenly aware of the fact there was alcohol at 11 years old.
Yeah.
Like, really interesting.
I've always wanted to feel different. I've always been like anxious or like in my head a lot. So it was the thought of like, this will make me laugh. This will make me feel good. I want to feel good. I like feeling good.
Word up.
So it made it easy. When I was that, but
You don't get a
obviously-
body like this if you don't like to feel good. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Talk about this guy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you like shots of Malibu,
Chicken parm feels good.
Wait till you
Whipped cream feels good.
That's actually why I'm here, Gerard. It's
Yeah.
not about me.
Oh, this is an intervention. Intervention.
Intervention. You do.
Intervention.
Shut up. Intervention. What intervention do you do?
actually have something to
Oh, there you go.
do. Speaking of,
Wait, can you show that? Hold that up to the camera, man. Look at how happy he is.
This is your last hurrah.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to get high one last time. We need more whipped cream.
All right. I'm going on a
Refills,
diet.
lovely whipped cream.
I'm going on a diet, but first.
Just amazing.
I'm cramping. I'm cramping from laughing. I'm dehydrated.
It's amazing.
I need more coffee.
It's amazing how many people listen to me and form their political identities based on what I say.
With cookie crumbs
So
all
true.
over your
It's so true.
Like, that guy is genius.
That guy is brilliant.
That dude is.
He is a wordsmith.
I can't. Oh boy.
Oh no. No. It's a little.
I'm feeling like.
It's a little German. Get rid
I'm
of it.
feeling like we should invade Poland. That's all I'm saying is, what has the Czech Republic ever done for anybody?
My face is
That
like
fucking felt
cramping from
powerful. I
laughing
felt
at
fucking
that.
powerful.
Dude, I was just
It felt
cramping
right.
after
It felt
practice.
It didn't feel wrong.
I'm
Anyway.
with it. I support you, Gerard.
Yep. We could cut that last part out. No, we're on gas. We're fine. Guys, thank you for this. This is spectacular.
Yeah, enjoy it. That's the last one.
Hey, yeah, sure. Three. How many times did you go to rehab?
Yeah, I had a few times.
All right,
Yeah.
I got a couple.
Yeah, you got some time.
So you were sober at 19, right?
19, I got sober
were
July
never-
19th at 19.
You were never legally allowed to drink.
I did no, but I
Wow.
drank enough.
How about that?
I certainly have my fair share. But
How
yeah,
about that?
people
That's
be like,
wild. That's a wild thing to consider. Like,
I know.
yeah.
people
Wow. Yeah,
ask
got it all
like
in.
what I drank or like what my favorite drink was. I'm like Svedka, like
Really?
whatever handle. Just get me drunk quick. That's what I cared about.
Yeah.
I didn't have like a. I still couldn't tell you like I was sometimes like fruity drinks at the bar look nice and
need
like
that
I would want that, but at the time I didn't care. I wouldn't. I
Yeah, it
wouldn't
was more to
spend
get
money
the
on
job
it.
done, kind of.
Yeah.
It was for the effect, not
Like
not to enjoy a drink.
A grape Smirnoff Ice, but I'd be chugging Svedka in the garage, hiding it so that I could like get where I wanted to.
Were you
be.
an athlete at all in high school? Did you?
I
run?
was.
You were.
I was very
She was
quite.
she was a fucking stud.
Really?
She started
Yeah.
as a freshman. She was starting on the varsity basketball team.
Really?
Yeah, point guard, like controlling the ball, like pointing you go over here, you go over. Like, yeah, she's a fucking baller.
I loved it, and I still do. Like anything athletic is right up my alley.
Yeah.
I love playing sports, but
Well, the reason I asked.
I loved OxyContin more.
Well, that's the reason why I ask, right? Is because when I was a freshman playing varsity, you get introduced to an older group, right? So you're like 14 years old, but you're playing with
That didn't-
17, 18-year-old people. Well,
Yeah.
I was introduced to the things that they were doing, and we would drink like crazy, going down to like Belmar, taking that hour train down to Belmar, come back up, play a game, and I'd play poorly. And then it was like very apparent to me, like, okay, I can either do this shit with them or I can play. And so in that mind, having sports was a great deterrent.
Yeah. I didn't like when I was a freshman. I wouldn't smoke weed during basketball season. That's
Well,
like
but
where
that's-
I drew the line.
No, but
I would,
that
like,
means something, though. That really does mean something.
But I'd
you know?
also be sweating out Svedka at basketball practice in the morning, like getting hungover during practice or still being drunk. But basketball, I loved it. I loved to play. That was like I played the other sports like just to do something, but basketball was like my number one. I loved it. But it obviously came second to the drugs and stuff like that. So I stopped playing. By the time I was a junior, I like hurt my knee, which wasn't how I got on drugs. But I used that as my out. I was like, I'll just keep doing what
It's
I
funny.
want to do.
We've talked about that before, where there's guys that I know, whether it was college or a lot of guys in the minor leagues would start drinking heavily or abusing something because it was easier to have a crutch to blame. Like, oh, if I stopped drinking, maybe I would have made it, or but instead of just
Right.
coming to terms with the fact, man, I wasn't good enough.
Right.
Well, there's
So it's like they're giving themselves an out type of a deal.
I think with the athletes, especially at a high level, you get injured and, pain medication is addictive in itself. So maybe they're not, I was in rehab with people that weren't actually
Sure.
like addicts. They just got addicted to it. They needed to go to detox
Can
and
you
whatever.
make a delineation between addicts and people who just?
Yeah. So with like Oxycontin, a lot of painkillers, things like that, they're physically addictive. So you start taking it. When you stop taking it, you're going through withdrawals. So your body aches, you feel sick, you don't feel good. So then you take more, you feel fine, you feel great, you feel better than you could ever feel even naturally. So people don't want to stop taking it, so they keep taking it, but they're only doing it, and doctors will prescribe you anything you want. You could find somebody that's going to give you what you want. So if one doctor, you get a knee surgery, you start taking medication, you get physically addicted to it. But most often those people are able to look at the consequences, see the consequences, and make a change. They can be the people that go to detox once, or they sweat it out on the couch. In my opinion, an addict is somebody that even with negative consequences, you're still going to continue. But like an addiction is anything that gets in the way of your living your life, your everyday life. So it could be food, it could be sex, it could be drugs, alcohol, whatever that addiction is. It could even be to a person. Like there's like love addicts where your everyday functioning is hindered by this substance or whatever it may be. It's how is it negatively affects your life. You have negative consequences, but you continue to chase this thing, whatever that thing may be.
Yeah, with athletes in particular, I hate the rug pull, right? So like there's guys, we've talked about this, I think like 30, 40 episodes ago, guys I played with that were great guys, great human beings, and they're taking Percocets and Oxys to be able to play.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And they're not partying at all. And I think in their mind, like, I'm not partying. I'm not doing this to have a good time. I'm doing this so I can lift my arm up above my head. Right. And then the team cuts them. And now they don't need to be taking Percocet anymore, but they've been doing it for 3 years. They can't turn off that necessity within their body. And all that changed was their occupation. When they were a ball player, they were a warrior. They were a role model, someone that was fighting through the pain. And now that they're a gym teacher, they're a scumbag. They're an addict, you know, and it's messed up.
Getting back to my question, though, I was asking if there's a delineation between someone who's addicted to something and an addict. Do you think an addict
I think it's the negative consequences. Like,
do you think like that some people have like that addiction gene, like an alcoholic, like how they say it's a disease? It's like a, you know what I mean?
So I personally do believe that. Everyone has differing opinions on it, and I think for me, in my experience, it's an addiction. It's who I was. It's what I was gonna be.
Is it contagious if you sneeze on me? Will I become an addict?
You never know. You might want to keep your distance.
Right. Just need to know.
I think that I was born with it. I think I would have found my way to it. It wasn't like I'm running with the wrong crowd. Like I found that. I was running with the right crowd, found the wrong one so I could do the things I wanted to do. Like whoever gave me the first drug or tried the first thing or the drink, anything like that never mattered. It was just in me. But I do think it's something that you're born with. Like plenty of people can do drugs and be fine. Plenty of people have experimented with drugs and don't need to go back to it. But there's a certain, whether it's personality, a disease, whatever, your brain chemistry leads you to do that. Is what I believe.
I agree, and because I think there is like people who are more disposed to it. It's not just, you know what I mean? Like I think there's
I would say you have addictive
personalities. That's why I don't do any pills, any powders, anything. Like when I got my surgery, I didn't even think about touching those pain pills. Like I think I could be one.
I think you put it into something healthy, but that's also with someone's career. If you're an addict or you have that addictive personality, that's why you're gonna succeed. That's why you're gonna be the best.
The obsession, right?
Yeah.
So that obsessive personality.
And that's one of the things I always say, and I believe this obviously, one, because I've seen it in her, but I've also seen it in other people. When someone is an addict or a junkie and they're like a real addict and they get sober and harness that energy and channel that energy into something productive, they become motherfuckers. They become unstoppable.
You're resourceful. If I was sick, I needed crack or heroin, whatever it was, I was going to get it. Now give me a task, whether I know what or how to do it, I can figure it out. I can be in any room with anybody and figure out how to fit into it.
I've even seen that become self-destructive, though, where somebody that was an addict takes that obsessive personality and that resourceful nature and becomes an absolute titan of industry, a massive entrepreneur, mega money, that neglects their family, doesn't raise their kids.
Well, of course, there always needs to be some kind of balance.
Well, balance is
but they're
the biggest
incapable of it.
Of course,
they're incapable of that.
That's why I'd say, like me and her, we're both extremists.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, if I find something I like, I'm gonna do it to the highest degree. I'm gonna neglect other shit too.
So how do people with that obsessive personality? Well, there, go ahead.
That's the thing. So, when you're an addict or you have that personality, or when you're going to be getting sober, the goal is not to fill it with something else. It's to come up with positive coping mechanisms.
Sure.
So I really struggle with balance, and even like I certainly have an addiction with work, and I don't I haven't found balance yet. But I also know what I get out of work. I don't look in the, like, I've never been the person that looks in the mirror in the morning and is like, you're good enough, or I love this person that I see. I'm always looking like I need to achieve, I need to do
In fairness,
things.
there's like 3 of those people on Earth. So, like, I don't like in this entire room, there's one, maybe
And
one and a
this
half.
is something
the hard
this is
thing-
something that probably one of the last fights we got into, I think, was right after my surgery, and she was talking about this. And I got fucking pissed off. And it's not totally right of me.
About
But when she like talks about herself like that, like it breaks my heart and like pisses me off, because like I see, and everybody that knows you sees how fucking wonderful you are, but there's some disconnect that you don't see it and don't feel that way. And it's a struggle. It's something, I've been haranguing you about work to keep balance and stuff, and about that for years, and it's I know it's nothing I can just say. I want to be able to just say, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
well, you know how you feel, like, all jokes aside, you know how you feel when like a civilian like tells you about fighting, and how could they know?
right.
Unless you've been to the depths, you just don't know, bro. Like, unless you've felt depression, like, you can describe it, you can read a clinical thing on it, you can see it, but unless you've been in it, you just don't know. Yeah. Like, you don't know, like, you've never woke up a day in your life and been legitimately sad that you did. And
Right.
there's just
I've never wanted to kill myself.
Yeah, there's just no way to describe that, and there's no, like, when people are like, you're great, and you start looking at them like, well, you're a liar. Or like,
Well, I even, from the standpoint of like producing, if there's something, like, if I tell you I'm going to get you a sponsor and I think this is going to happen and then it doesn't, it's so hard for me to see you and be around you, because I'm like, I've let that person down. Or if, like, even when it's completely out of my control, a sponsor doesn't pay, but the athlete or whoever has done everything they're supposed to do, I want to avoid that person completely, because like I see it as a failure of myself. Now I'm not good enough, but if I'm like doing great, and if like I have a successful meeting or something like that, I'm on cloud 9. I'm so happy. I'm excited. I'm happy to talk to people.
Yeah,
I feel
sociable,
okay.
the highs are very high, the lows are very low.
Yeah, but there's also, it's never enough. I close the deal. Okay, now I have to stress about keeping this, and I have to find more. Like, I always more. So you get sober. I think that.
You're lucky you never fell into an MLM. You're the type of person that they just feast on.
No, I'm
they
smarter than
bury
that.
you into the
I'm
ground.
not a moron.
They're just like,
I got a brain.
oh, you did 90,000 last month? What are you, a loser? So Johnny in Utah did 120,000. What's wrong with you?
I would be running that right away. That was one
You
of the
would
things.
be Mary Kay.
I was in rehab for a year, and I
remember this. Actually, I was there. I was there when they said it. They were like, you got to send her somewhere else. She's running the place. They're like, we are not capable of helping her. She's running this place. Like, she's like, and I went down and we did like family weeks and stuff at like some like the rehab facility she was in, and like she'd like, someone would start talking, she'd be like, nah, that's bullshit. You need to blah 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 blah. And these are like full grown women are like, you're right, Jamie. You're right.
Some of these rehab facilities, the stories I hear are like, so I went on a Hinge date with this girl, and throughout the topic, our first date, she's talking about she went to rehab. And I'm like, no problem, man, that's cool. And then like as we continued on and she like started opening up to me, she started telling me things like, you should have never told anybody on a first date ever, like talking about, so the third time I went to rehab, I knew exactly where I could like stash the liquor and this and that, and that's where I met my boyfriend, and I had my first threesome, and I was like, what is going on in rehab?
Well, that's a problem.
I need to go to rehab. Like, what's going on
That's
here?
a problem too.
That's intervention.
One of the problems is that like you go to rehab and you're around people that have done more than you. So the first time I was in rehab, I had never shot up before. I went to a detox, then I went to another detox, and when I got there, I saw girls with track marks. And my first thought was like, fuck, I never got to do that.
That was your first thought?
My first thought when I saw that. I was like, meanwhile, these women have lost their children. They're, some of them have been to jail, like all the like terrible things.
Wow.
Their kids are born addicted. And my thought isn't like, oh, that's terrible. It was like, I got to be sober now, and I'm never going to know what that feels like.
Interesting.
And
so you didn't go to rehab of your own volition the first time then?
No. I never went to rehab of my own volition. Absolutely not.
They tried to make me go to rehab.
The only
a woman who
time,
died.
The only time I stayed and wanted to stay was at the end when I was terrified of relapsing again, and I just didn't trust myself, and I did everything I could. You
legitimately had to admit you lost control.
Yeah, I spoke to my therapist maybe a month ago from the last rehab I was in, and she said, "You're still the person that's been here the longest. Over 9 years, I stayed there the longest. I was in for over a year."
High achiever. High achiever. If you're going to do something, do it right.
I'm going to go to the extreme.
And I don't know why I go to extreme.
Start singing songs everybody knows.
It's Billy Joel, guys. Come on, get with it.
But even with
pull that song up. Pull that song up, Christian.
Jamie's gonna keep talking.
Yeah.
we like drugs themselves are a symptom of addiction. It's not like I did the drug, I became an addict. I was an addict, and then the drugs themselves were a symptom of it. So even when I clear that up and I don't have the drugs anymore, I'm still just as much an addict.
Steve-O literally just talked about this.
Oh, really?
Steve-O, I just saw a video on what you just said, and he kind of he said was his big step to sobriety was instead of seeing the drugs as kind of his problem, like what was he trying to self-medicate? Well, getting to the root cause was what finally helped him.
Yes, the drugs are never the problem. It's just what I use to mask things. I'm the problem. Like I was the problem, and that's not like looking at myself negatively. It's the problems within me, because that's why there are dry drunks. That's why there are people that they get sober and then they're miserable. And that's why one of the main principles of Alcoholics Anonymous is like, gosh, now I'm forgetting it.
It's because you're not supposed to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not supposed to.
First rule of AA, don't talk about AA.
Well, and I do definitely disagree with that.
That's definitely not the case.
Because it's one of the main principles of AA is attraction rather than promotion. So it's not if I'm sober but I'm a bad person, or if I'm so miserable and I'm complaining and I'm unhappy, why is anybody going to, but I'm walking around like telling everyone I'm sober and like you should get sober too, and you're not going to want to be
I get exactly
sober.
what you're saying. It's like when I see the Jesus fish on the back of the car that's going 35 in the left lane, nothing makes me want to embrace Satan more. Oh.
Exactly.
I got it.
You get it.
I totally get it.
That's what it is. So if I'm the problem, drugs are a symptom. I get rid of drugs, I'm still not happy. So I have to get to the root cause of that. I need to figure out why am I so unhappy, and I have to address that. Otherwise, who wants to be unhappy?
Well, have you ever seen the very funny, not to make light of your situation, but the very funny Adam Sandler sketch on SNL when they're talking about Romano cruises? We've been getting a lot of Yelp reviews that you don't like Romano cruises. We can bring you to the Amalfi Coast. We can't make you a different, less sad person when you're there. If you're sad here in America, chances are you are going to be sad in Italy. I can show you Italians and girls. I cannot make you process past trauma. It's very funny, man.
But no, that's exactly it. It's wherever I go, the problem's going to follow. It's not I was terrified to move to live in Florida because I was at my worst down here. And then I was the problem. I could be in New Jersey, I could be in Mississippi, wherever I was the problem. So a lot of people think it's if I go and I move here, if I get this job, once this happens, once that happens, it's going to change. It's not going to change until you change. And it's not getting rid of something. It's actually changing who you are as a person, the way you view things, the way you handle things. That's where healthy coping mechanisms come in. That's why a lot of people get very heavy once they became sober. Because now they turn to food. They
replace it with
Food is a very it's an easy addiction to have.
Right, because you have to eat.
You have to eat.
You don't have to drink, you don't have to do drugs, but you have to eat.
You have to eat, and it's less looked down upon. it's a lot easier to do that than smoke cigarettes because people still look down upon people smoking cigarettes.
I don't like you guys talking about me like I'm not here.
Intervention. That's why I'm here. Gerard, we love you.
Gerard, we love you. We care about you. How does that cookie taste? A minute on the lips, a lifetime on the hips.
Let's just shame him the rest of the show. That won't
Does
make
that taste treat
Gerard
feel good?
Honestly.
It won't fill that hole, buddy.
Gay. Bonus hole. So, you're 11 years old, you start drinking.
Yeah, and so
You're 19 years old, you get sober.
19 years old, I get sober.
And she had been, but like she had she was 9 months sober at one point.
Yeah.
When
except for whippets, I didn't count those.
Well,
so we do in the halfway house.
hey, keep that whipped cream away from her, Ben.
Yeah. So we at the halfway house, it's like
Gerard's whipped cream. He'll bite your fingers off.
After I saw the way he went after that cookie, I'm staying away.
Yeah, good.
I saw the mug full of whipped cream.
I
and
have
the
a question. What do whippets do exactly?
They give you the womp womps. It's a wonderful feeling. So it basically cuts off the oxygen to your brain.
Ben.
Yeah.
How does that
so
feel?
honestly, though, that was the closest thing since I've been sober. I got like starried once, and I was in Mississippi. I was rolling with Waylon, and I didn't actually get choked out, but I got very, very close. And we like kept rolling. He's like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And it hit me, and I was like, I'm great. Like I loved that feeling.
Yeah, Ben knows.
Yep.
It's like whippets like dust off. That's why so many kids and people die from it because it cuts off oxygen, from my understanding. But it just gives you like that womp womp feeling where you just like feel high.
So funny. I see you making a funny joke, and I see Mickey thinking about taking every belt out of your closet now. My sister ain't doing no David Carradine over here. So you're 11 years old. You're 19 when you sober up, and you did rehab 3 times in between. So bring us through.
More than that.
More than that. So bring us through your timeline.
So,
when did your family realize that you had an issue?
Well, first, a story that really stands out to me that I should have known or someone should have known. I'm 13. My cousin's older. She was in high school and had been drinking. Our neighbor's older too. High school. They've been
Shout out, Biff.
Yeah, sorry. And again, they're not the influence. Would have done this on my own. We're at our beach house, and we steal tequila. I play a card game with my grandpa. I'm like, no, Pop, you sit there. I'll sit here. So his back is to the closet where the alcohol is.
She fucking hustled him.
Sweet
At
grandpa.
13?
She's like, oh, Pop, show me one of your card tricks.
Pop,
one of your
you
card
love
games.
cards. Yeah.
And he's like, oh, great. Like, fucking bitch.
Yeah. Real asshole from the jump. So he plays cards with me. My cousin sneaks up the stairs, fills up 3 little bottles full of tequila. Then we're cleaning up after dinner, and we're like, we'll put the dishes away, and we're like putting them away. Grab a shot glass.
Should have
put it in
been
our pocket.
suspicious.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Not me. I'm saying them.
Mickey, our after dinner ritual is the men should go and sit on the couch and the women
Facts.
should clean the table.
Yeah.
And we stand by that.
That's right.
We stand by
That was an Italian household.
Grandpa, Yankees are on. Mickey on the couch with me. Ladies to the kitchen. And
gotta
this
tell
is
you.
not
God,
a
I love you,
complaint.
Pop. I miss you.
Yeah, the only way to get that luxury anymore is to convert to Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
We
praise be to Allah.
We try to keep it in our family, and anytime Mickey gets a new, like if a new woman's around or something, I try to school him up real quick. Like, no, Mickey sits. You do.
We gotta have
cut that part out.
Gonna have to do a whole nother episode on Stockholm Syndrome. A whole nother episode. Well, all right. Welcome to the harem. This is the rules.
Yeah. We school him up real quick.
Civilian rules. Civilian rules.
But so we steal all that. We go up to the beach. We all drink our bottle of tequila. Our neighbor, cannot drink tequila to this day. She was so sick.
And the neighbor's older than me.
Yeah.
And then,
You know what's so
Biff's
funny?
my age.
You
and Jamie's like, how old are you now? 13?
Yeah, I was
So they're like
13 at
15
the
and
time.
16 because this story's going somewhere.
But what I'm saying is you can still hear in her voice, like, that little bitch can't handle tequila.
That's kind of the point of the story, right?
I mean, I'm not allowed to drink it either, though. So at least she has the choice. I don't have the choice.
Yeah, high score. You broke the game.
I did. So she's so drunk, like throwing up, at one point I'm sitting cross-legged. There's like everyone has rock driveways at the beach. It would be on my knee. She would throw up, smash her face in the rocks. These two boys, they ride them home they help us get her home. We try to throw her in the shower. We're like, we'll sober her up real quick.
Sure.
I had a house across the street saw us. And I think I went to the door and even asked for like water and paper towels because I was like, all right, my friend's dying. I got to do something. Wow. They called the cops. We're trying to hose her down so that she could get sober. The cops come. Everybody on the street is outside waiting. Finally, we have to like bring her forward.
How much tequila did you guys drink?
Like a little bottle full, but we were young.
Still a lot of Jose Cuervo.
Yeah, it was a lot. And everybody's out on the street. Her dad is from Staten Island, and it's just, Mickey, you got to do it. He's screaming, but he's like, that's not drunk, that's drugged. Like, but do it can you do it in his accent? I can't. He's the best.
I don't want to.
Okay,
I don't want to.
Never mind. But he was like, that's not drunk, like, that's drugs, screaming it. The cops are asking questions. Obviously, like, my cousin's scared. She tells a story about how these boys gave us something and we don't know what happened or anything like that.
And the boys that helped them, that she went to throw.
Yeah,
them
these
right
random
out.
boys.
Poor bastards.
They weren't drinking with us. They didn't do anything wrong. They helped us get her home, and they're like, these boys on a bike, like they gave us something. We don't know what it was, just because out of fear.
Were they white kids?
Cops. They were.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Long Beach Island, bro.
Can you imagine? This is being a black kid with drugged white ladies in the 90s.
Well, luckily
God
they were long
Good
gone.
luck to you,
which
sir.
was an easier.
We're younger
scapegoat.
than you, Gerard. This was the 2000s, my friend.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
God, I'm aging myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We were babies in the 90s.
Was drinking young like a thing by that time? Because I gotta tell you, to my ear, this is like so young. Like me and my boys didn't really start drinking until like 15, 16.
I mean, I see 11-year-olds now and 13-year-olds, and I can't even imagine.
Right?
But I smoked cigarettes, and not all the time.
Yeah,
but
Christian, you're white
drinking,
trash
like,
from
by the
Cleveland. When
time-
did you start drinking?
13, 14. That's when people started
13,
drinking.
14.
I didn't drink till I was 18 years old.
Hey!
I took
Amazing.
acid and mushrooms before I drank.
That's
How about
hilarious.
that?
Wow.
That's
Wow.
really funny.
That's
Never was interested in alcohol.
You're a sophisticated gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm
How
a
about you?
little
How about you, Ben? All right.
Don't take any longer.
Jesus Christ. Why don't you add, subtract? 17 before you drank. Good boys. Good boys. Natalie?
I was super late here. I was 20.
20.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
never interested me
Interesting.
until I could get it myself. Like, it wasn't worth the hassle
Yeah.
for me to try to
Same.
find it.
Yeah.
See, I was kind of the opposite for a long time. Like, I really liked drinking because, like, I could get, like, in on a fake ID. And then by the time I was 23, I never wanted to go to a bar. I was like, I can just get a 6-pack for $12. Like, why am I going to a bar for? A whole bottle of Maker's Mark to myself. Fantastic. But anyway, 12 years old, 13 years old, that's getting, so in my mind, that's like getting after it young.
Yeah.
How do your parents not
So-
notice?
so-
Are you
to
drinking
get to the
often?
end of
Or?
the
Well,
story.
so the end of the story is that, like, the cops are there, whatever. My dad gets on the phone with me, and he was like, Jamie, you have to tell the truth. Tell the cops what happened. Like, you gotta,
Well, these kids are going to be screwed.
Yeah, exactly. So I go over to the cops. I tell him.
Your
I tell
dad
him
knew, though?
everything. My dad just knows me. He
Gotcha.
knows that I'm not just like, oh, I'm silly girl, and these boys gave me drugs. Like, he knows me a little bit better than that. He knew that Jamie fucked up. Jamie probably did something. So
He literally was like, "You're gonna get these poor kids in trouble. Tell the truth."
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He's like,
and he
"No."
wasn't even there. He was just, he just knew.
He just
He
knew.
was like, "That sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happened?"
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah. So I go, I tell the cops everything, and as we're like walking away, like that, they're like, obviously, like this was wrong, but good job telling the truth. And
You got a gold star after that?
yeah, it was
Hey,
like
made her sheriff.
but also they didn't think I drank as much as everybody else. Like I should have been wasted. I was fine.
But you were a cagey old vet at this
yeah,
point.
I was like, I've been
And
practicing.
if you're like a real alcoholic, you handle it better.
Yeah,
like,
I
you
think-
like you
So
take
they
it.
say.
You what I mean. Your tolerance is higher.
Yeah. So I like should have known there. Like those are pretty bad consequences. Friend almost had to get her stomach pumped. Like cops being called the first time, I like really went after
But
it.
you got away with it.
But I got away with it, and I did not care, and I could not wait to drink again. I just wanted to do it
Up
again,
in the ante.
and I was gonna do it better.
They call that chasing the loss for gambling addicts.
Yeah.
Chasing the loss. If
Well-
they don't care about winning $5,000, they want to see if they can turn it into 10.
And that was like, even throughout my addiction, there was always something I didn't do. So I never used needles. I'm not that bad. I'm not doing this. I'm not that bad.
Justification by, juxtaposition type of a deal.
Like I would compare myself to other people, and I would be like, well, this person does this. I've never stolen
almost
for
like
it.
you're
Or
a
I've never.
canary in a coal mine, where it's
Yeah.
like they're a little worse. They're a little ahead of me.
Yeah, everybody
so if I'm
was
okay,
worse.
Well, who sounds like that is Michael Jordan. When they ask him about his gambling on the Last Dance, he's like, "Yeah, if I lose $1 million in gambling, well, what's it matter? I can pay my bills."
Right.
Well, but even it always makes me sad when someone retires. Like when you're that big
From
of a
drugs?
star. No, yeah, from drugs. It's like lost
Quitters.
another good soldier. When like from professional sports, even like because you're used to those highs. You're used to having people screaming your name in an arena. Like there's a sadness to me because I'm like, how are you going to get that feeling again? How are you?
Yeah.
How are you
rough,
gonna?
for sure.
What are you gonna do now?
You've peaked.
And I think that's why a lot of people they spend too much money, or they gamble, or they go to drugs, or different things like that. Like,
Do you think attention has something to do with it? That people like the attention, even if it's negative attention, it's how they get attention?
I think it's attention, but I also think that you have an addictive personality and you have a place to put it. And once you don't, you're not training as much. You're not like competing as much. You're not getting the good, like the good feelings of it, but you also don't have a place to put that. So I always hope that somebody has like a plan and they don't retire and are like, well, figure it out from here. Or like they just have tons of money and where do they put that? Up their nose,
Yeah, for sure. They have nothing, time, money, and no purpose is a very dangerous combination.
Yeah.
So the point of your story was at that point.
At
you
that
thought
point,
that we should have realized that you had a problem. Like
not
we
even
didn't
that I
know
had a
how much
problem, but
drank.
you would think that after seeing my friend that sick, after like the cops being called, that I would not be excited for the next time.
Honestly, I looked at it.
But you got away with it.
See, I looked at it as like I was mad at the two older ones for bringing you along with it. I was like, how you gonna do that around my sister? Like I was like, are you serious?
Interesting.
With Jamie? Like I you know what I mean? Like that's
You
where I
held
was.
her in such high regard that you kind of like took the accountability away from her.
Or that I was a
No,
baby.
it was just
young.
yeah, she was the younger one. They were being bad influences. You know what I mean? I didn't know all that.
That's a great point. Was there anything as far as like, trying to get you around better mentors, better groups of friends? Was there?
I kept it pretty hidden.
Yeah.
I wasn't I wasn't like getting sloppy drunk and throwing up on myself or doing like Mickey probably got in more trouble when we were younger than I did, but like peeing in a mailbox or like different stuff like that. Like I wasn't
Peeing in a mailbox.
peeing in a mailbox.
That's a federal offense. I'll have you know.
I got in a lot of trouble with mailboxes.
yeah.
That story I told you before. Remember when I don't remember why it came up, but it was mischief night and we destroyed like someone's mailbox and
This
like
is where your father punched you in front of the cops.
this is where they called my dad and he smacked my one friend in the head, smacked one friend, boom, just punched me in the chest against like the cop car. And the cop's like, yeah, you can take him. You got this handled. But yeah,
Corporal
that was
punishment.
one of my federal offenses.
So you that night
I
you got
don't fuck
arrested
with
for
I didn't get
peeing in a
arrested.
mailbox?
I didn't get arrested.
Oh, okay.
The cops got called, but I mean, he probably would have been safer.
I don't remember peeing in a mailbox, to be completely
Well, that's
honest.
I'm pretty sure it was that night, and
All right.
that you guys
I
like
just
ripped
threw
him
the- I
out
threw
and
the
then peed
mailbox
on him
in
or
the- I
something.
threw the mailbox in the woods.
Maybe I made that up. I don't know.
All right. So it doesn't. I assumed it was real at first, but I just can't remember.
No, I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, like I was never like, I didn't really get caught. I would go to parties. I would like, obviously my parents didn't want me to drink.
Sure.
But they knew I did drink, but I, for the most part, managed it.
And being there, I knew like she was like drinking and like doing stuff that I didn't want her to do. I didn't want her to be out drinking, and I wanted to take care of herself.
Sure.
But I remember there was a point, and like drugs, I didn't know. I didn't do drugs.
Were you drinking in high school?
A little bit, not much.
Gotcha.
Not crazy. I was like on my, I was on my athlete
Yeah,
shit. I
yep.
did a little bit, but not crazy.
Yeah.
But I remember there was a point where I was like, we were always very close. Like we always had a very close family. She was like this person she is now. Like she was, my girl. But there was a point where, and I used to never understand people who are like, yeah, I have a sister, but we don't really get along, or yeah, I have a brother, we don't stay in touch.
Yep.
There was a point where I remember I was talking to her. She must have been about like 15, 16 or something. And I'm like looking at her eyes, and I wasn't talking to Jamie. I was talking like to an alien. That's the only way I could really say it. It's like it was an alien. The person behind the eyes wasn't a person I knew. It was a different person. And I remember around that time being like, I get how people, I probably won't have a relationship with her. And I didn't know, I just thought it was her changing. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that she was, a full-on drug addict at that point, and was, the alien had taken over. The drugs had like taken over.
Was there some sort of trigger that you had? Was there something, was it stress? Was it pressure? Was it attention? Like what do you think?
I just like to drink. I like to feel different. I didn't even love like smoking weed or anything at the time. Because I would get like nervous. That I was always pretty anxious. So I would be like, oh no, like my mom's gonna smell it on me, or she's gonna see it. I know I'm gonna get in trouble. And then I started like doing coke, or I think I did Adderall for a little bit. And I would actually, I did Adderall for a bit, and then like coke started coming around, and it would be like.
Well, I mean, you were 12 now,
Yeah.
so. Greenbrook,
I was
wild.
probably, I think I was 14 or 15 the first time I did coke, and I would.
No fear whatsoever. No, like the whole. Stay away from drugs, the DARE program, all that stuff.
I
didn't
was smarter.
Scare you at all? It was
I was smarter. I would do it better. Nothing like I wasn't gonna get hooked on it.
Yeah.
Because I was an athlete.
Sure.
Come on, I was balling.
I think the problem with DARE is like they do scare the shit out of you, and then you see somebody do it and not die, and you're like, oh, these people have been lying about everything.
Yeah.
Well, I think for a little bit, like a good family friend smoked cigarettes, and I was like, that's disgusting. I used to steal his cigarettes and break them and throw them away. And then I started smoking cigarettes, and so it was like, it works for a little bit, but people aren't realistic with it, and I'm not like the most book smart person or something like that, but I'm also not like, give me a reason,
Sure.
give me a real reason. Don't
Absolutely.
like patronize me and tell me don't do this because I say so, because then I'm gonna find out the reason.
Trust the science.
Yeah.
Just shut up and trust it.
Yeah, I don't. That's never. I mean, Mickey, you're kind of the same way though. It's like I'll follow rules if there's a reason for a rule.
Yeah. You gotta just explain it to me. Just let me know why. Don't just tell me to do something. If you just tell me why, like it's like when the parents are like I don't need to tell you, just because I'm your parent. That's why. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, but like it'd mean a little more.
I think the internet pretty much ended that generational. Trust. Respect your elders. Shut up and do what you're told. Thing. I got Uber. I can go anywhere else.
Yeah,
I don't have to listen to you, man.
Because I said so will never work for me.
No, it'll never. I don't think it'll work as a culture ever again.
I remember one time I went and I'd started doing jiu-jitsu at this point. I was like 16 I was probably 17 because I had a license. And I remember I came home and I couldn't find my wallet, right? This is, again, going back to where I started to realize there was like a problem here. Couldn't find my wallet anywhere, right? And I was like, fuck, like maybe I left it at the tournament. And then I remembered at this point I needed to start taking my keys to my bedroom at the house. Because this one over here, old Sticky Fingers, went and opened, unlocked my car, took my wallet, took my money, but then to cover the evidence, just threw my wallet out. I had to go to the DMV. You bitch! I had to go to the DMV. I needed to get a new license. I had cards in there.
That's the stuff that I hate the most. The most was
But we could joke about it because that's not you anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But that's some of the stuff that's most shameful is that and I don't mind you saying that. I'm not saying it in that way. And I'm sorry you had to go to the DMV. I still owe you on that one.
You do. You made up for it.
But I just I didn't have any thought of anybody else. It wasn't like I didn't love my brother. He's my favorite person in this world.
Sure.
I'd live and die for him. 100% no question. If he's the only reason I decided to live when I wanted to die. And I would 100% give my life for his without question, any day, any time.
But in that moment,
I'd kill and die for her 1 billion times.
But in that moment, it's like, I'm sick. I don't feel good. He'll be fine. I can take this.
is that the
The
justification?
drugs are more
Is that
important.
the justification?
Yeah, like he's fine.
I had a friend steal his father's cancer medication and trade it for a $5 bag of heroin.
Yeah, because
He ended up not making it, unfortunately. It was a very, very tragic thing. But like, it was his father's cancer meds, man.
Wow.
there's just no
Crazy.
care,
Yeah,
there's no
it's the same thing.
consideration, there's no thought of it because it's not. There's literally no thought of anybody else, and that's why it says Alien Jamie, because like I was just garbage. Like it was just there. I only thought of myself. I never thought I was hurting anybody else. My goal was never to hurt anybody. I never wanted to negatively affect anyone. But I was in so much pain, I couldn't see past anything. And that was like physical, mental, everything. I was just a shell of a person, and like I needed these drugs. And that's what got me to rehab the first time was like stealing from my mom. And she was like, if you either I'm going to call the cops or you're going to go to detox. So when I just
So she knew that you were stealing to.
Are you writing bad checks or something?
Yeah. And I would go and I'd write a check and I'd put books on it and like, I'm going to college, and like would bring it to the bank. And then the bank all knew, like they knew my family, they knew us. And they're like, college books don't cost that much. So they called. And then I had dropped out of college at that point, and I went to my mom was like trying to find me one day, and I was like driving around going to buy drugs. Didn't have any money because they wouldn't cash my check because they had caught on to me. And I was like trying to like figure out some way that I can make some money to get some drugs. I finally got some, and my mom was like chasing the car down, was like, you need to pull over, you need to pull over. And I was in the car with a bunch of other people, and then they were like, and meanwhile I'm like on my phone texting her like, go away, leave me
Mom, you're
alone.
embarrassing
I'm with
me.
my friends.
Yeah.
And then finally I'm like, all right guys, just let me out. This car will stop chasing us. So I
Good
go
for your
with her.
mom, man.
Yeah.
Good for your mom.
No, and that like really put in play like for me to get my life saved. So I go to rehab. Like I said, I just turned 18. Well, I go to a detox, then detox. I got in there, and again, like pretty big consequences or sadness. Like we have a very close family. They all just found out about this. They know I've been stealing from them, lying to them, like just being a complete piece of shit.
It's like a day or two before Christmas.
Literally a day or two before Christmas. I've spent every holiday, birthday, you name it, in rehab by myself. And like each time it didn't matter. Wow. It was the day before Christmas Eve, I got into rehab, or detox. Then I was in there for obviously Christmas Eve, Christmas. After Christmas, I got sent to a detox in Florida. And that was where I saw people with track marks for the first time. And I was like, oh, like, wish I'd done that. Now I got to be sober, and I don't know what, like, missing Christmas. I was in there. I was in detox for New Year's. I think I was in for Valentine's Day in rehab. Like, this first time I did probably 10 days total in detox, and then 30 days in a rehab, went to a halfway house, stayed sober for a little bit, like I said, sober, but I was doing whippets, so not really actually sober. Then I ended up relapsing. The first time I relapsed, I was friends with a girl who had been using like needles and shooting up. And I snorted maybe a pill. Like I could tell that she had relapsed. We were living together. And like neither of us wanted to be the first one to be like, oh, I relapsed, because that was like we both kind of failed.
What's real quick? What's your thoughts on that? Is it a good thing? Because you often see people that went to rehab or ex-addicts, they try to stay together. Do you think that that's a good thing, or do you think that that's a recipe for disaster?
Well, that's the same thing with, South Florida. There's a ton of recovery and resources, but there's a ton of relapse because the statistically, I don't even know what they are, but like
It's like a domino situation. One person relapses, and then the entire group
more
falls.
than anything, it's like one person is able to stay sober. Most
gotcha.
people in programs, a lot of people that I was in with, they're dead or in jail or still addicts. Like the majority don't get it.
Why do you think that is, Jimmy?
I mean, I'm lucky. It took me forever. It took me a long time to get sober. A lot of different programs. I relapsed after them. It's not an easy thing to do, and that's why I'm so proud of it. Like, I'll tell anybody that I'm in recovery. I'll like that. It's the best thing in my life, and it's why I have a life. But it's what I'm also most proud of, and what I've had to work the hardest for, and what's really shaped who I am. But getting sober is not easy. It's really, really hard, especially if you don't have support. But there's not one way to do it. And I think that's really important too. Like, I recently had to kind of pull back from somebody who's going through addiction and dealing with it, because I wanted them to do it how I wanted them to do it. But everyone has their own journey. Some people sleep it off on the couch. Some people go to rehab. Some people find Jesus. Some, people find all different ways to do it. And I had to find my way to do it. Mm-hmm. And granted, my way was other people's way. They like pushed me into it, and I wouldn't have done it without it. But it took a long time because, one, it's easier to relapse when you're around somebody who's already doing drugs. Like, fortunately, in my life right now, I haven't been in a situation where doing heroin is a normal thing. Yep. But when I'm in a room where everyone is like, heroin is common, it's a lot easier to, I'm having a rough day, I know where I can go. So there's a lot of benefits, but there's a lot of negatives. But more than anything, I think it comes down to me and myself making a decision. And if I'm going to make this decision, I have to make it. You don't change just because other people love you so much. Like, my family loves me to death. They would do anything for me, but they couldn't get me sober.
When do you think you lost control? Like, you felt like you had control of the situation, and then you kind of lost control of the situation?
When I started doing Oxycontin. So after drinking, I started doing Coke a little bit. And then one night after doing Coke, I had a boyfriend at the time, and his brother had been addicted to Oxycontin. And he said, I know what can make us like be able to sleep, feel better. But, we got to be really careful. My brother had a problem with this, and we're like, yeah, whatever, we'll be fine. So I did Oxycontin for the first time. And that's where the Purdue
Pharma knew exactly what Oxycontin was when they made it, and they knew exactly what it would do.
I'm sure.
They had $2 billion, I believe. I don't want to get this wrong, Christian or Natalie, if you could check me on this, but they set aside $2 billion for lawsuits, knowing that this thing was the most highly addictive thing that they had ever put on the market. It was as addictive as morphine, which they give morphine to dying soldiers on the battlefield. And the fact that they were giving this to kids who had, a root canal.
Even still, in recovery, I have to tell doctors and remind them millions of times, like, I'm sober, I'm in recovery, I can't have anything. I've gone to dentists, and they're like, do you want the gas? I'm like, no, thank you, I'm in recovery. I have to make sure everybody in the place knows so that I don't get anything. Sure. And they still push it on me. Like, in the dentist, they'd be like, do you want the gas? I'd say no. I'd say I'm in recovery. I can't have anything. And they'd be like, well, it'll be a lot more pleasurable if you just do. And I'm like, yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah, I would fucking love that. Trust me, I want the gas more than you want me to have the gas, so I'll relax. But I can't do it. Yeah. But they push it on you, and it's the most disgusting thing to me. Like, people, I just don't understand that
irresponsible.
Greed. Yeah.
So irresponsible. So you were saying before how getting sober was the hardest thing you ever did.
Yeah.
It was also the best thing you ever did, right?
1,000,000%.
I think that's kind of a rule of thumb. The thing that you need to do, the hard thing, is probably the exact thing that you need to do, and it's the thing you'll be the most proud of.
Well, yeah, and right? it's what shapes you. So I think about it with our little sisters, or if in the future I wanted to have a family, like I would hope that they learn from my lessons. I never want to see anybody I love go through this, because I know what it's like. But at the same time, like, it did shape me to be who I am, and it's what I'm most proud of in my life. Like, sometimes I tell people, because I'm like, if I'm going to be working with them, or if they're trusting me with something, I'm like, just so you know, I'm a drug addict. Like, or I'm in recovery.
Right.
Because I don't want someone to find that out later and feel misled or deceived or anything. And there's some shame that I was like still dealing with around that, like expecting to be judged. Right. But then I also, I think that I lost my train of thought.
Well, my question to you is going to be, what would your advice be to someone who is like struggling and wants to, get out of this, wants to, embrace the hard road?
Tell people and tell as many people as you can.
Tell people like that you're struggling and that you're like be specific. Like I'm addicted to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. You have to out yourself, because once you put it out there, now you have people to hold you accountable. That's what I was getting at. So aside from the shame of it, of that I was like a little embarrassed or felt like people should know, it's accountability. That's why I tell everybody I possibly can. First night, if I've gotten to a place where I'm comfortable being in the environment of alcohol. For a while, I wouldn't even put myself around it. Right. But now everybody, any friend of mine, anyone I'm doing anything with, whether it's work, whatever it is, I want them to know that I'm in recovery, that if you see me with a drink, that's a really big problem. I'm going to die. Maybe I won't die that night, but if I'm drinking, it's going to lead to something else. I'm going to die. So if you love me, a lot of people also think like, oh, you were probably just young and silly and like you probably don't have a problem anymore. I don't want to find out. Yeah. So there's no drink or drug that's worth the one time I could try it and see.
Yeah.
So I'll never do it again.
Jeopardizing the life you have now.
1,000,000%. There's nothing worth it. There's nothing that's better than who I am today.
So your first advice would be to out yourself.
So tell everybody, because if you tell everybody, then you have accountability. Now it's a lot harder. You can't be as sneaky, and you want to be as specific as you can. You get like these come to Jesus moments. That's how I've gotten into rehab the next couple of times. Was I had this moment where I was like, I got to tell someone I'm gonna die, and then okay, so now it's out there. Now my family.
That was the last time. The one time when mom and dad went.
Yeah. That was.
I'd like to talk about that story after, but I want you to continue with the steps, like the advice.
Yeah.
The first step was out yourself.
Yeah, get it. Tell as many people as you possibly can, because you get this moment of clarity and then it's gone, and then you want to hide it again. But if now you have people,
if you already did it, then it's out there.
Yeah, now you have people that can hold you accountable, that can try to help you. And because I never was able to do it on my own. And I think
if you're in a spot right now, you fucking start dialing that phone right now.
Yeah.
If you're feeling like you're feeling in that come to Jesus clarity, start dialing right now. Hold yourself accountable.
Jamie, what's the way to hold somebody you love accountable where they don't hate you or resent you, or you don't end up hating them and resenting them? What do you think is the best way to go about that accountability?
The best thing you can do is not enable someone. So,
have the awkward conversation. Don't be afraid of the confrontation.
Don't be afraid of it, and don't be afraid to detach with love is what they call it.
What does that mean?
So it means that, like, I love you too much. If you keep doing what you're doing, I can't be in your life. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to do anything for you. I can't even talk to you because I can't watch you kill yourself. So that's one of the hardest things for people to do. But my family put that on me. And they said, like, it's
a hard thing to do as a family member too. That's whole detached for love thing. Yeah. No, I'm just saying it from the other side.
Because you probably don't believe it. You're like, this is my younger sister. I'm gonna ride for her forever. So it's like you're almost lying, right? I mean, I would imagine.
No, was there a moment for me?
Was there? I understand that, but from his perspective, was there a moment where you felt like that could be true? Where like, look, if you keep this up, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah, there was. Because it wasn't her anymore. It wasn't the same person, Yeah. So there was, and it was, but it really was with love. Like the detached with love thing was something it took me, like, it was hard. It was very hard at first, but it got to the point where it was like, what else? What other option?
How did you feel as the big brother, especially somebody with
fucking helpless? So helpless. The most helpless I've ever felt in my life. You know what I mean? It's the person I love more than anything, watching her kill herself. But I can't, there's nothing I could say.
Sure.
There's nothing. That's why the detached with love was what it had to be. Because I could try and say anything. it wasn't hitting. It wasn't. You
Was
know
it
what
a small
I mean?
town where people talking shit? Was it getting to you? Where everybody's busy?
No, I didn't give a fuck about that. I cared about her.
Yeah.
I could give a shit about that.
Well-
Probably people probably talk. No one's saying it to me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? No one. Everyone know better than that. But like I mean, maybe they could do that. But even if they were doing it, I hope they were, and then I hope they get to look and see what she's doing now.
Sure.
And see what she's become. And like, haha, motherfucker.
Well, no,
like,
well,
you know what
you
I
know
mean?
what, if
Like, yeah,
they-
you want to talk your little shit.
A lot of those people talking shit, going through their own stuff. Hopefully that they're
course.
inspired by it. You know.
Well, even our dad, like he had said to me that he was ready for me to die and had to live his life as if I had, because he was sure I was going to, and he had 2 little girls, and he like had to just keep going.
Did your parents' divorce affect you at all of this, or?
Potentially, like, but it wasn't like, oh, my parents are divorced and I'm sad, so I'm gonna. It was like, it was easier to play them off of each other. It was easier to be sneaky.
It made it easier to run the con.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was definitely like our family being divorced was like
Sure.
hard for me, but I wouldn't change it ever. Like we got the best little sisters out of all of it, but it definitely took a while to get to that point. But that was also a sense of like, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe, but like I said, if my parents were together, happily married, I would be a drug addict.
Gotcha.
Whatever
And
it
speaking
was.
of that, so our parents are divorced, and they don't really like get along. They're like, you know what I mean? They're the best 2 people in the world, but they're just not right for each other.
Sure.
Right. But at that, she was talking before, the story I wanted to tell. So she's down in Florida, and she reaches out, and you said like basically that you thought you were gonna die.
I had overdosed like a couple nights before, and then
On heroin,
heroin and crack. Yeah, I would shoot them together.
heroin and crack.
Yeah.
Oh, the old
Speedball,
the old John
baby.
Belushi.
Yeah.
Nice, the old Chris Farley. That's a fat guy thing. Well done.
I love Chris Farley, actually.
So she reaches out, and I think Matt called, I think, mom, and said Jamie's bad, and basically my mom.
So I had overdosed, and I was living with a boyfriend at the time, and or a girlfriend.
I think you've already outed yourself. Sorry. ESG scores way down.
And I went back, and I was supposed to drive him to work, and I needed to get high before, so I went to shoot up and thought I was overdosing again.
Well, in fairness, these roads in Florida are ridiculous.
Yeah. So I thought I was overdosing again. I like ripped the door open. I told him everything, and then he was like, "Well, call your parents. Like, tell your parents." So I was like,
That's your boyfriend?
Yeah.
Or your sponsor?
No,
You didn't have a sponsor at that point?
I may have, but I was getting high, so it didn't matter. I had told him everything, and then I was like, let me drive you to work. So I took him to work, and then I was like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, now I have to get sober. Now I told
you just
somebody.
outed yourself. Yeah.
Like, and
Wow.
so I ran away, and he called my parents, and he told them everything. But he was like, Jamie, like, it's really bad. It's really, really bad.
So my mom thought she was like he expressed that it was bad. She thought she was getting on a plane to collect her body, essentially. Like he didn't know if they'd be able to find her, locate her, whatever it was. So this is why I say my parents don't get along and all that, but they came together on this for the greater good, being her.
It's their baby.
Got on a plane, flew down here, found her, planned to take her back on a plane, but she was too messed up. They couldn't get her on a plane.
Jamie getting off of crack was the worst person. Like, you thought Alien Jamie was bad. I don't even remember it. I was blacked out, but I was god awful.
My aunt
poor
Tay, who you
parents.
know, came down too. They couldn't get her on a plane.
I was
The
like,
sweetest people.
They could not
Sweetest
they
people.
could not get her on a plane. Like, she was beyond messed up. So they drove her back
my
up
dad,
to Jersey.
Oh,
from
our dad rented a car. My mom sat in the back. My aunt sat in the front. I laid my head on my mom's lap, and she was just feeding me Starburst and candy because that was all I wanted. Because, like, for whatever reason, when you're coming off of drugs, like, you just want sugar. I hadn't really eaten. I was so, like, skinnier than I am now. and she was just feeding me Starburst while I was like in and out of a daze. My dad sat up in a hotel room with me, watching me sleep, like afraid I was going to stop breathing.
He was afraid you were going to run away.
Well, that too. But he said he was like watching me breathe because he was like waiting just for me to just stop because he knew I was detoxing. And then drove 17 hours straight. Just our dad doesn't like drink caffeine. He drinks like a Diet Pepsi, and he's like, "Ooh, got a kick." Drank like 5-hour energies to get him through. Took me to the hospital. Me and my mom got in a huge fight in the hospital to the point that she was leaving me, and I would be like, "But where are you going, Ma?" And then she'd be like, Jamie.
After you're saying the most horrendous probably things.
I would be like hysterical. I don't even know. I was blacked out. I just know the stories. But then she would leave and I would be like, Ma, where you going? You come back? Like, I'll see you in a little bit. Like, I was just out of my mind.
You were trying to like stop at a gas station to pee, and you were trying to like.
I was trying to shoot up. I was trying to hide drugs. I was trying to get drugs. I was trying to do anything that I possibly could. I would like anything because I just couldn't be sober at that point.
It really humanizes the people that you see, the homeless people, the addicts that you see on the street people or whatever you want to call them, because you're like, man, there's a real human being there.
Well, I have
if they could clean up, you don't know who they were before it, you don't know what they're capable of.
That's the thing, man. It's people's potential too.
Yeah.
I'm reminded. So I live near a train station, and there's like 4 benches, and there are always homeless people sleeping on them. And every morning when I wake up, I take my dog for a walk, or I go out there and I work out. And I can't tell you how grateful I am because that's me. So I also do I do as much as I possibly can for them within reason. But like a hot day, I'll bring out ice pops. Or something like that, because that should be me. That could be me. There's no reason that isn't me. So I also I don't look down upon them because I had my family. Had I not had my family, I wouldn't be alive today. I'm certain of that. Or I would be so far gone that there is no hope. So obviously if you can get help, but you get to a point that you can't. So I'll even give them money sometimes because I'm like, you're going to get your drugs one way or another. Better you don't go rob some old lady for it.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting
perspective.
I'd rather you not be that desperate, even though maybe it only helps you this one time, or maybe that's going to be the one that you kill yourself on. God, I hope not. I hope that it's not my money that ends up taking you there.
Yeah, you have a massive amount of empathy for these people.
Yeah, it should be me. It could be me. I swear to God, I think that every single morning. And I when I'm working out, and I couldn't be happier because I'm like, they wouldn't even want to do this. I have the luxury of being able to work out. Like if I'm uncomfortable, if I don't want to go to work, I have meetings. I'm like, what a luxury I have.
Yeah, great perspective.
It's because 100% it should have been me, but I was fortunate that my family pushed me into it. Then I went to that rehab that told them she needs more. Yeah. I went to another place, did 90 days after doing 30 days in New Jersey plus detox. And I didn't want to leave. So they made an exception. My last rehab I was in was this program. One of the best, if you need Pine Grove Behavioral Health in Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, just incredible. It literally saved my life.
We'll put a link in the description.
Great,
Natalie, let's throw a link in the description there.
And it's for everything. They have a women's program, a men's program. They have a sex and love addiction. I did the women's program, and then they have this thing called the professional enhancement program. Now, mind you, all of my college years, I was in rehab. I don't have a degree. I don't have any sort of anything. Professional enhancement program is for all doctors, lawyers, people that have an issue with a license, whether it be drugs or alcohol, whatever.
And mind you, this is the place also where Jamie was telling all these high level professionals nah, that's bullshit. You need to talk to your family differently because blah 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 blah. Fucking 18, 19 years old.
Sure.
Yeah. Fucking
running. I mean, still a Jersey girl at the end of the day.
Jamie G.
And so I did. I went to this thing that was so I went to this place that it was for all professionals. I stayed there for over 9 months, or maybe just under 9 months, just because I needed to be safe. I was terrified of the world. And I knew, so they made an exception. They put me into this program, let me stay as long as I wanted to. And finally I ended up moving back to Jersey, but saved my life. And If you need help, call there. They have great resources, even if you can't go there, or reach out to Mickey or myself, anybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody.
Jared Gordon's is one too.
Yeah.
Is helping a lot of people. UFC fighter Jared Gordon
Got robbed.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, people like Jared, Matt Brown, like people that
Yeah.
have like been
Court
through that.
McGee.
I would watch them fight, and I like Matt Brown was one person that I almost cried when I met because I'd watch him fight, and Mickey would hit me up, and he would be like, like that could be you. Like, look at this guy achieving something. He like went through what you went through. You could do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Died.
The immortal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember watching him and just being like, I could never fucking do that.
One of my best friends now, and we used to just watch him. Now it's one of my buddies.
The coolest thing in the world was like seeing him, but I also like didn't even want to talk to him because I was like, you're like just everything that I wanted to be. I wanted to be successful, but I thought like that would never be me. It never could be.
What do you think about the whole rock bottom thing? How that you can't really until you hit rock bottom.
You certainly can get sober. You don't need to do that.
I agree.
don't that was a wonderful excuse in my head of like I need to get lower, I could get lower, I should do more, whatever.
Yeah.
You certainly don't need ever to go that low. It was what I needed for whatever reason, but don't wait for it because it only gets worse. As soon as you get back to doing the drugs, no matter what you've built up, you lose it all. Like it's fucking miserable.
I would quantify it like this. This is my experience different than your experience, but that what you said earlier really resonated with me with the justification of other people's rock bottoms. Like my rock, this isn't rock bottom. That's rock bottom. What you think is not your rock bottom at one point, if you do make the change, 2-3 years later, you're gonna look at that as like, man, I'm never gonna be that happy again.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what you are like justifying is not your rock bottom is like the top of the mountain to climb 3 years later.
Yeah.
It's yes, 100%. Do not
nip that shit in the bud,
bro, because you have no idea, you have no concept of how bad it can get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't it happens so fast.
Yeah. I think I swear like what saves me and has saved me a million times from going back is I'm certain I'll die. I'm certain if I don't hurt somebody else, if I don't end up like drunk driving or like I will 1,000% die. And that's a lot of people's rock bottom. And it hurts the people around you more than anything. And I'm never going to be like, I'm not going to be that selfish. Like the only reason I go back out is because I want to die. But I have promised Mickey, like in any way that
the only reason you
if I went back out
went back to using
drugs, it's because I'm suicidal and I want to die. But I'm never going to do that to my family because I get peace, whatever comes after.
At their expense.
I only hurt the people around me, and I'm not willing to do that. So for times when I can't do it for myself, having my family, knowing that they love me, knowing that they care about me, or just anybody that you care about that you don't want to hurt, like when you can't do it for yourself, do it for someone else. But the only way you're really going to do it is when you do it for yourself. Because one day Mickey's going to make me mad. And if I want to be spiteful, then what? I go drink or I go do a drug. Like I have to do it for me.
You hurt yourself to hurt them?
Yeah, I have to do it for me at the end of the day. But having somebody, like I said, Mickey's why I got sober. I did not care if I lived or die at that point. But when I overdosed, I felt like I got to a point, like it was like a dream is how I remember it. And it seemed like there was a point where I could go forwards or backwards. Forward was like I had to live and there was light. Backwards was just peace. And it was dark and it looked like I felt like I could just fall back asleep.
Yeah, I remember you talking about this before. That's heavy though. So you were in an overdose and you felt like you could have gone either way. Like you could have chose life or you could have chose death at that time.
Yeah. I that's exactly, like I remember it as if it was a dream. I had like a dream of other things that were going on at the time. Well, what I remember exactly is I had shot up and I didn't want to shoot up as much as I did, but I couldn't hit a vein. Somebody else did it for me and they did the full amount instead of what I would have wanted to do. So I stood up and I was like, oh, fuck. I've never, and I think I was like, I ain't never been this high. Like, said something I would never
I do
say.
declare.
Yeah, like I said it.
I ain't never done been
She's,
this high.
Yeah.
she's so high, she's antebellum.
Like, yeah, like I talked like completely, and I remember like being like, huh?
That sounded weird.
And then
Yeah.
I just started like having a seizure. Like I remember being confused by how I was speaking, and then I had a seizure. But during that time, I was kind of like dreaming. And then at the end of it, it was like I could go one way and it was peace. And I felt like I could just relax and like everything would just be fine. I could just finally like breathe, like what I'd been looking for. Or I could go forward, and I kept seeing Mickey. And I kept hearing his voice, and I kept hearing him say like that he didn't want the next time he held my hand for it to be cold. And I can't look at you right now or I'm going to start crying. But I remember just being like, fucking Mickey. And then like, all right, I got to go that way. And I remember like I was annoyed with him that he wouldn't let me die. And so I felt like I made that decision to like fight through and not just let go and die. And then, I woke up and I was like, I'm never doing this again. A couple hours later I was, but then a couple days later I finally asked for the help. And thank fucking God I did. Because, like, no drug, no alcohol, nothing it's never worth it. And, like, hating yourself, being miserable, there's an easier, softer way. And, like, you have to go through a difficult time. But that, as somebody said, like, you never have to feel this way again. You never have to feel this way again. And I remember, like, going into detox, going into rehab. Every single day it got better, it got easier. Today, I barely have to think about it. I think about it from a sense of pride and excitement and like, oh shit, my anniversary is coming up. Like I know what I can and can't do, but I never have to feel the way I did that last day. Like the misery, the shame, the guilt, like all of that, like wanting to die, hoping like maybe this will be the last time. Like you never have to feel that way again. You do it one day and it sucks, and then it's easier every single day. You get to 30 days and like you're feeling like a rock star. Then like times get harder, but if you just keep going, it gets better. And when you like, I'd say like after a year, like that was like the most exciting thing for me to ever achieve was to get a year sober. And it just gets easier if you keep you try to do the next right thing. You try to take care of yourself. You're never going to be
Get
perfect.
that momentum going.
Yeah, you get that momentum. But like I remember thinking in the beginning, all right, if I relapse now, I got to start again. I got to try again. Like I never want to feel that way again. So I'm never going to fucking put myself in that position. And I like promise myself that, if I do it again, I'm going to die. So maybe I don't have to feel that way again, but I'm for sure going to die. So I hope I never get to that point, and I do everything I can to not get to that point. And that's why I tell everybody, like, if you love me, don't tell me that maybe I'm not a drug addict. Maybe I was just a little party girl. Maybe I was crazy or immature or whatever. I don't want to find out. So that's like, I never have to feel that way again. That's why I remind myself every day, because there's no worse feeling than that.
That was heavy.
It's a remarkable story, Jamie. It really is. And I your bravery and your vulnerability in telling it is something very, very special.
It was the first time I almost cried on the podcast. Gerard cried on the Chaz Palminteri one.
And I didn't get any tears?
Huh?
You don't care I was going to die?
I hold my baseball. I hold it tight. I hold my baseball. This is my blanket. I know we're running over time here, but this has been fantastic. I do have two more questions here.
Yeah, we're going to keep going.
Mick, you had told me, and this is a question for you. You had told me early on in one of our first meetings or one of the podcasts, I can't remember, that kind of your solace in the gym came from the family turmoil that you had, right?
When I started doing jiu-jitsu at like Grace, New Jersey with David Adiv and all those people, that was my therapy. Mm-hmm. It was I knew I wanted to, I did that because I wanted to fight and stuff, but it was 100% therapy to me. So it was a time when I would go there and I'm not thinking about I'm not thinking about how worried I am about my sister. I had a break from that. When someone's trying to choke you, it makes you kind of put your focus elsewhere, So that it was very therapeutic for me, and it's still therapy to me.
So you were able to kind of turn that pain into passion and purpose, right? So there's two real powerful perspectives for anybody listening to this. There's really three big takeaways from this episode. Is if you're struggling, this is how you can get help. If you love someone who's struggling, this is how you can help them. But also, the other side of it is how do you not become self-destructive as well? Right. How many people who, in my own family, an addiction in the family has caused a cascading effect in the rest of the family. And you were able to
For me, it was never an option. I almost want to protect her, but I saw what it was doing to my parents. I wasn't going to put more shit on their plate, It was hard for them. You know what I mean? It's like I felt the helpless feelings. I know they felt the helpless feelings. It's their baby,
I think it's harder for the family. I think it's harder to love an addict than it is to be the addict because, I'm I'm possessed by something else. I'm nowhere near reality. All I'm thinking about is that next drug. I'm not thinking about anybody else. I don't care about myself. I don't care about anybody else. But when you have to watch your loved one and you can't do anything, there's nothing you can do but try, and then you try, and then you get stolen from, and then you try, and then they hate you, and you're like, but I just fucking love you. I want you to be okay. And
especially
you can't
addicts
do
tend to be
anything.
so charming too, don't they? They're so charming.
Because we got stuff we need.
Yeah, and that helpless feeling. I mean, when did you feel like you were out of the weeds? When did you feel like she was out of the weeds?
When she was down in Mississippi, there was a lot of times where I'd felt like I'd had glimmers of hope. When she was 9 months sober, I guess but whippets. we just thought she was 9 months sober. I actually thought she was 9 months sober until right now. I didn't know the whippets thing until right now today.
You know what they call it?
I can't take the credit for it because I didn't actually earn it. I would not consider that sober. I don't do anything. I didn't even drink kombucha for a while. I'm sober. I don't drink.
No
I don't
California
do
sober where you smoke.
So
weed
that's the
and
thing.
there-
California sober is where they smoke weed. We just invented a new thing where you're sober except for whippets. We're gonna call that Philadelphia sober. That's Philadelphia sober.
It's
I'm sober except for spray paint. I'm sober.
And when I say sober, I mean sober. There's no.
You limit your caffeine intake.
Yeah, you don't even smell the gasoline when you're pumping.
But speaking of caffeine, with these Brute seltzers, everything is better.
Brute makes me want to change my mind. Brute, I'm like, I'll get back on that caffeine.
Get back on that caffeine train. You know what I'm saying?
So that is though how I do want to finish this podcast, because this really has been such, and you really are such a really truly impressive person, Jamie. And I appreciate you coming on. Especially.
The vulnerability.
The vulnerability for women is even harder than men. Laying yourself bare. I mean, it's really, really something. I can't thank you enough. But you've come full circle now. You're highly successful in your business. For people coming out of it, right? When you try now to recreate your life and get into a workplace, what advice do you have for people coming out of it that are trying to restart?
You don't always have to tell people you're in recovery. That's your business. If you want to tell somebody, tell somebody. If you don't.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, I get what you're saying, but when you look at the resume, and the resume has a 6-year lapse.
I have no problem talking about it. I tell everybody, I've told everybody I've ever worked for, I've told them I've never not gotten a job because of it. But I've also proven myself.
They should be chomping at the bit to hire a sober addict.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be a fucking bulldog.
Well, yeah, the capitalist in me immediately goes, well, I can get a good employee for half the price. Yeah.
Exactly. they're going to work more for.
I'm going to get a $100,000 employee for a $50,000 salary here.
Paid for.
What other options you got?
Top high achievers.
I don't think there's ever a reason to need to hide it. Honestly, I put it out there right away, and I'm like, if you want to judge me on that,
it's not going to be the right. It's not going to be the right spot for you.
Well, yeah, but you also you probably have plenty of shit yourself. If you have an issue with me because I've overcome something, I don't really care what your opinion is.
Sure. Well, yeah. And then it just becomes the trust of you have overcome it.
Yeah, right? But I think less of you if you're judgmental of people for just in general, I think less of you.
100%.
A lot, but a big part for people, you guys are tough guys from a tough family. A big part of struggling with recovery for people is dealing with that kind of shame and that social anxiety. That, like, what if anybody finds out? Like, what if,
I just think it's fucking dope. It's awesome if you're
Something to
getting
be proud of.
sober.
Like, literally, it's the proudest day of the year is her sober date for me.
I agree.
Like, everybody's got a fucking birthday. All right, congratulations, your parents fucked and you were born 9 months later, and now we're just celebrating that. She had to earn this shit every fucking day. You know what I mean? Like, that's real. You know what I mean? Fuck a birthday.
When I meet someone, like, I met somebody who I was actually working with, and a couple sentences that she said to me, and I was like, this chick's in recovery. Liked her a million times more. Will do, like, and not that I disliked her before, but when somebody's in recovery, like, or it's gone through something, or like, you can just tell. Like, you can normally, if you're a drug addict or an addict or recovery, you can
the
always
non sequitur tattoos are normally a pretty good deal. It's like,
you can normally, like, just, you tell it by the way they speak and stuff. And I have so much more respect for that person right off the jump, because I know they've seen hell. I know it. I know that they get they understand life better, in my opinion. But I think, like, find a job that's easy. Find something that's simple. I worked in a pancake house. Original, not IHOP, original House of Pancakes.
Original House of Pancakes.
OHOP. I miss that every day. Some days when I'm stressed and stuff, I was like, I wish I could go sling some pancakes, come back, take a nap, just chill out, not have to think about work.
Jamie G, if you ever want to sling some pancakes, you come by your brother's place. you sling some fat jacks around here.
But, like, you find a job that's the easiest job that you don't have to think about. It's no stress. Put as little stress in your life. Only focus on staying sober. Like, just find a
This is great, because this goes back to so the first part. I'm gonna rehash. The first part was out yourself.
Yeah.
Tell everybody. Then do you go to? Is it detox next?
That's the thing. Everybody, it's hard to say. Everybody has a different process. If I try to make somebody do it my way, they're not going to do it.
What do you think is just a next logical step, like a reasonable?
What I'll say, I did what I would suggest, but it certainly is not the only way. But if you're having withdrawals, it's a lot easier to get sober by going to detox. They can give you medication that can help you to ease the pain.
And not die, because people die if they're on heavy shit and then they just stop cold turkey.
Yeah, depending what you're doing. If you're on like alcoholics, they can really have a big problem. People that do like benzos and stuff like that they can all die. So like heroin, Oxycontin, you can cold turkey, but you're gonna be fucking miserable. So you could go somewhere that can help you, can give you some medication that weans you off of it, and don't leave with medication from that place. Suboxone is miserable to get off of. It's a substance that they give you to help you to come off and to detox, but there's nothing to get you off of that.
Yeah, so you see Atlantic City with the methadone clinics.
Methadone, same thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's miserable. So take it. You shouldn't take it more than 3 to 4 days. I'm pretty sure. So, like, going to detox, I found going to rehab really helpful. I don't think 30-day programs are worth it. I think a 90-day is minimum. 30-day is like, it can get you right, but you don't really, that's not enough time to process and go through and make changes and really change your life. You're breaking a habit of years. 10 days in a detox, 30 days in a treatment, that's not going to be enough. But you also, like, just take it day by day. Go to detox. And then from there, like, just try to stay sober. You only have to stay sober
don't do drugs today.
Yeah.
Just today, I won't do drugs. We'll face tomorrow when we get there.
Yeah.
When you face tomorrow, I'm not doing drugs today.
I think 90 days is a good place to get a foundation, and then you go to, like, an IOP or like some sort of
intensive outpatient.
Yes,
IOP.
Yeah, intensive outpatient, some sort of outpatient, so that you're continuing to work on yourself. Work with a therapist. Talk to people, have a good group of people around you. If meetings are your thing, go to meetings. If church is your thing, go to church. The main thing is you got to get to the root cause. So it's not stop the drugs, the alcohol, stop the symptom. They're a symptom. That's all they are. It's a symptom of something a lot bigger in you. So you have to get to the bottom of it. So however that is, everybody has different ways of dealing with trauma or, anxiety, whatever your core thing is, not loving yourself. How are you going to get yourself to love yourself? You got to change the way you act, your actions. Like redeemable actions are incredible to make you feel better. Make your bed in the morning. You feel good right away.
It's a win to start.
Yeah,
the
just
day.
win. First thing, you make your bed, done. Check something off the to-do list. That's like gratification, instant gratification. It's easy to make your bed. It's nice to keep your place clean. It's like the little things that just make you feel better about yourself. Like work hard, do like a nice thing for somebody, hold the door for somebody. Like very little kind things. Smile at somebody and get a smile back. But like maybe like do little things that make you feel better about yourself, and then you're less likely to hate yourself and want to hurt yourself. But
I think exercise is a big place.
I think exercise for sure, but also being careful and conscious that you could get addicted to that. Like treat yourself nicely. Go for a walk. Go for a nice run. Get endorphins going because it makes you feel good. But that's another part of caring for yourself. Like eat healthy. Take care of your body. It's all these things are going to make you feel better about yourself. They're going to make you want to do better, and they're going to make you feel more confident about yourself. It's like build self-esteem. But I think working out is incredible because we want a high. Like I love to run.
I'm addicted to working out for sure.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? That's where I get my best feelings.
I love to run. I love to go on like as long a run as I possibly can, to the point that I feel like I can't do it because then I feel even better about myself. Is it time? Sorry.
No, fuck that.
I didn't know. Oh, pickleball?
Yeah,
If you're
Gerard.
gonna
I was
get
like,
addicted,
sorry, am I
if you're gonna get
talking too
addicted to
much?
something, if you're gonna get addicted to something, do you have time to talk about my Lord and Savior pickleball?
I really thought he was covering your mouth with the pickleball.
I
I'm
thought,
like,
yeah.
no.
I thought he was like, all right, it's enough, Jamie.
Have you heard the good news, friend?
And then I was like, is he checking like Wi-Fi?
What?
What is this?
What is this wand device? This is paddle.
I haven't gotten on the pickleball train. But even that, like pickleball, jiu-jitsu, you're doing something
Totally.
fun, you're playing, but you're staying active. It makes you feel good.
Going back to what you were saying about like cleaning your environment and stuff is something that I have tried to be conscientiously better about after listening to Jordan Peterson talk to somebody else about it. And I know that it's like, Goggins talks about it, but the environment, it really does it gives you a sense of control. Like that you can control this, and if you leave something somewhere, it's not going to get done. I got to clean it. And when I come home, you feel better in a cleaner environment. Like I never really cared. I never cared about like messiness or something like that. But being conscientious about it does actually lift your spirits a little bit. It's weird.
It's discipline. It's an accomplishment. And it's also what your environment is where your brain is at. If things are scattered all over the place and that's like shows stress, in my opinion. For me, I can tell by the way my house looks for how I'm feeling. If it's clean, things are nice and like put away and whatever, I'm probably in a better headspace than if like I'm leaving things all over the place, I'm rushing around, I'm running out the door, I'm forgetting things. So it just helps. It helps with like lowering stress levels, I would say, like anxiety and stress. And you're being responsible. You're most likely, if you're a drug addict or like heavy in an addiction, you haven't been a functioning member of society. Now you have to relearn these things. Brush your teeth in the morning. Like girls, when we would be in rehab, it would be like exciting to go and brush your teeth, and it made you feel good about yourself because you hadn't taken care of yourself in so long. So like the little things like brush your teeth, brush your hair, have good hygiene, like stuff like that. Like take care of yourself and start doing normal things, but you're gonna feel satisfied because you're actually living.
Yeah, you've been super gracious and talking about all this stuff. You've been super vulnerable. I really appreciate it. So I guess anybody listening to this, if you're struggling or someone who's struggling, if you've just listened to all these things to be helpful, share it with somebody. You know what I mean? Send it to a friend. Like you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Jamie, reach out to G. It takes a community. You know what I mean? Like we got your back. We want to see you do great.
Yeah, especially if you're a sponsor, it makes Jamie feel like really good when she lands sponsors. So like, reach out to Jamie.
I wanna, now that
give Jamie a win.
Like I said, you've been very gracious with this stuff. Now let's talk about some of your future goals, some of this current business stuff you have going on. Like I know.
One other
can we
thing.
talk about Rendezvous at all?
We can talk about Rendezvous, but one other thing: when you're getting sober, don't date for at least the first year. Just be smart about it. So many people relapse over that kind of thing. I took a little extreme, but like that's really important, is surrounding yourself with people that want to see you do good and not putting yourself, like, keep all stress
Emotional
levels
highs,
down.
lows.
Keep all
that's what you're
stress
saying.
down.
Like a not stressful job.
Yeah, keep all stress.
Take care of yourself.
Just get sober. I think back on my days in rehab with like envy at this point. I'll be like, I wish I just had to go to a meeting, that someone made me breakfast, someone told me when I had to have lunch, dinner. I just had to go sit, talk. Like, I would love to just sit and read in my bed for hours like I used to. Like, I miss it. So, like, keep stress as low as possible. Just focus on staying sober. And then when you get sober, start fucking living. Like, have a real life. Like, do things you want to do. I was fortunate that I have the most incredible job. I get to be around my brother. I get to be around my favorite sport. I get to be around people that, like,
See, I was one of those smart capitalists. Right as she got out of rehab, I was like, come and work for me, Jamie. boy, did I fucking knock it out of the park. Boy, did I have the foresight.
Like, you know? I mean, it's, and really it is, like, I love to work and I love to achieve, and I put everything I have into it. But it's also because I get to work with mixed martial artists. I get to work with professional fighters. I see how hard you guys work. I see everything you put into it. My goal is just to make day to day a little bit easier if I can.
You're in the big leagues, man. I mean, it's pretty wild watching that, sparring this morning. There's Robbie Lawler sitting next to Kamaru Usman, who's watching his brother, who's sparring with, Big Swarm, who's next to, guy after guy after guy who's going to headline this UFC event. And you're sitting here watching all these guys, and it's like, man, you're in the big leagues, kid. You're in the big leagues.
Yeah, and they all, like, everyone looks up to Jamie. Jamie's like everyone's little sister, but also like our big sister at the same time. Yeah.
But I love it. All I want to do is make that place better. I like Killcliff FC. I think nothing's ever been done like it before. Nothing ever will be. I think
one of a kind.
Dave Martin, Henry Hooft, Robbie, when they all came together and they created this gym, like, they did something different, and I'm really fortunate to be a part of it. And I think every fighter there is really fortunate to be able to be a part of it. It's really,
everyone's fortunate to have you too.
Well,
Mike Barwis was going off about it the other day, just how the way you put that place into shape, like,
Well, that whole complex, if you are a professional athlete or an aspiring professional athlete, like, you cannot find a better prep school.
Yeah.
Like that, if you want to be a pro athlete, I don't care where you are in the country, come down to South Florida. You want to be a baseball player, you want to be a football player, you want to be a hockey player, you want to be a fighter. Get into Barwis,
Get
man.
into Barwis, for
Get
sure.
into Barwis and be around these athletes, these personalities,
Yeah,
these
if you
professionals.
fancy yourself a tough guy, come down to Killcliff.
Yeah,
See if
it's
you
something.
can stick around.
Yeah, it's something, boy. It's something to see. Honestly, the only thing I've ever seen anything like it in my life is the St. Louis Cardinals facility. I mean, it's that good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that professional. It's insane.
And we're fortunate, like, in MMA, it's exactly what you were talking about before. The humility that you build from being in the sport, knowing what it's like
to face
show.
reality.
Like, everybody in there, for the most part, they're just like the best people. I get to work with awesome people that I've looked up to, enjoyed watching. Like,
I mean, people think fighters, like, they'll always say to me, like, wow, you're really nice for a fighter. I'm like, I don't know what you think fighters are. The biggest killers have the biggest hearts. You take guys like Ong, like Linton.
Ong is a person
what I mean?
that you look at and you're like, what kind of skeletons do you have? Like, there's no way.
You must have killed a lot of people
There's
in Myanmar.
no way. There's no way someone's that nice.
Yeah.
Just the best person. Then you get to
But
know
that's the
more
thing.
and you're like,
but then you watch
you're
him
even
fight.
better?
Yes, and then you watch him fight and you see he's a killer too. It's that antithesis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's those
Evan
extremes
Elder,
that
the same
balances.
way.
Evan Elder, we talked about on the last
Cheese and
podcast.
rice, is he nice?
Yeah.
So
He's just the best.
What about
Rendezvous.
other things that you got? I know you Rendezvous.
Yeah. So Rendezvous. Never thought I'd be a tech person, but I was trying to come up with a way for fighters to make money during the pandemic, and I had an idea. I spoke with somebody who Mickey had actually put me in touch with about like hosting live events and things like that, and we found that doing it virtually wasn't as easy as it seemed like it could be, and that there was a lot of improvements there. So
it's horrible. We tried in comedy. We tried to do live shows, those virtual shows, and it was a nightmare. It was awful.
Well, coming this fall, I have something for you. We've been working on it for a few years now. We're actually in
You've been working fucking hard on this too.
Yeah.
You and Steve, and you're on calls with people. Where is?
So our developers are in Vietnam.
Vietnam. I was gonna say Korea. I knew it was
Vietnam.
That.
But Steve's from Singapore.
One of those smart countries.
One of them smart countries.
But it's incredible what we've developed so far. It's an app. It's also usable on a web page, and we're going through a round of funding, so any investors interested in this, please give me a call.
We'll put and you've had some success with the investors already.
We already raised a significant amount and are doing the next one so that.
I did not know you were looking for investment. We have some people that can help.
Oh well, I'm happy to hear that.
We'll put a link to Rendezvous at the bottom.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, spell it though for us.
It's Rendezvous, spelled how it sounds. So RONDEYVU. So Rendezvous. Rendezvous. And it was also the available URL.
It's spelled like if you were born in New Orleans and got a name.
But we have
Slick and Thick's gonna be doing a lot of stuff on Rendezvous.
For sure.
So we're in alpha testing right now. We're gonna launch it beta, and would love everybody to get on there and check it out.
Yeah, and Slick and Thick is gonna be doing a lot of stuff on it, right?
Yeah, so
I'm excited for it.
Right?
It's really cool. We've been working on it for a while, and one part that is very different from us is like most of the time something's created, you have to go find the people to be a part of it. But because it kind of feeds into both of my jobs, unfortunately, like the relationships that we've created throughout it, it's really cool. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for everyone to finally get to see it.
I'm excited for you to fucking
To the moon.
to the moon,
Jamie G to the moon. Jamie, we could sit and talk to
Jamie
you for
Moneybags.
another 4 hours. You're amazing. Thank you so much
hold
for
on, before
finally.
you close out, this is my podcast now. It's the Gall Takeover. We'll see you later.
What just happened here?
Yeah, Jamie, you want to sign us out?
Yeah, I'll take us out.
Put the menace glasses
You want the
on.
glasses?
Put the menace glasses
I'm
on.
gonna-
Get my. All right,
get
I'll
those
take out
Nevins.
my gorgeous Nevin glasses.
I love these Nevin glasses.
Yeah.
Most sunglasses Jamie G can't wear because they sit on my cheeks and they move too much. But Nevin, I don't have that problem with them. So yeah, this is the Slick and Skinny podcast, and we appreciate you guys being here today.
What
Gerard,
else? Talk a little about Gerard. Talk a little about me. Go ahead.
Gerard, we don't remember him anymore. He's lost from the podcast.
You're shutting down the G-Man?
She's replaced me. She's slick and skinny now. I'm gone.
Slick and skinny.
These glasses are a menace. These glasses are a menace.
problem.
These glasses
Gerard,
are a problem.
you had a nice run.
Thank you.
I think people enjoyed you a lot. You made a lot of people happy. A lot of
Thank
people
you.
laughed. But your time's coming. That
This is oddly enough the second time I've been killed off this podcast.
That is true.
it's important to know when your time has come.
Yep.
But Mickey, I think we have a really bright future together. I think the Galls, taking over this podcast.
To the moon.
Yeah, I'm excited
and curly.
Slick and curly. Yeah, actually, that works quite well. It has a nice ring to it.
Well, go ahead and take us out. Since
I don't know.
We're gonna...
I haven't done this enough, so
well, you'll pass the glasses back to me. And we'll
I'll pass on the
and maybe let G for his
Gerard,
his
for the
final
last
time.
one, take us out. I was just gonna keep talking.
Guys.
And in the beginning, you were like, "I'm shy. I'm shy.
I'm just
a
silly
little...
shy girl.
This has
Can we
been.
get that on the camera?
Thank you so much to Natalie
What
back
are
at.
you, Jamie?
Thank you so much to
I'm just
Natalie
shy.
back
I'm so
at
sorry.
Gas
I'm so
Digital.
shy.
Thank you to Ben. Thank you to Christian here
Gerard's
in the
powering
Podcast
through it.
Junkies
He's
studio. I am the funniest man you never heard of, Gerard Michaels. That is the great Mickey Gall. She has been Jamie G. This has been Slick and
Jamie,
Thick.
thank you very much for being so gracious and vulnerable. I fucking love you more than anything, and I appreciate you. So proud of you.
Love you. Thank you.
If you like this, tell your friends. Please share them and tell them that they can use code SNT for a free week of Slick and Thick and all Gas Digital. GasDigital.com, code SNT. Tell your friends and enjoy the rest of
Hey,
the Gas
we're
Digital.
here for you. We love you guys. Reach out. Live your best life.
That's right. Follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, on all the social medias, on YouTube and on Instagram.
And you can change.
At
We all can change.
Slick and Thick Show. And you can find us here on Gas Digital every Monday and Saturday at 2
What?
o'clock. Peace.